Ursus Icefield entrance. Right. Kaczynski Scientific Investigation Supply Depot.
You finally here.
BP, please enter passphrase.
A Mecklenburgian Billy Bro versus Kadistastles, Horatio.
Rhine Lab. Serial number Krivliv. Strange tone my manin. Ma. Aghela. Welcome to the Right Kaczynski Scientific Investigation Supply Depot.
Fishes Out notebook audio system in Ursus WK station is slightly damaged. Maintenance unnecessary for now. That should do. Professor Mary's team probably took enough supplies for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 20 people? 20 people's worth of supplies for a team of 15. Fishes Out notebook, only 5% of supplies remaining. Enough for 10 people excluding my cis-lev workers restocking. Now what else, sir? Shows no signs of damage. Energy. No recharge needed. Life support equipment. Still good. Temperature's alright. First aid kits appear to be unused. Doors and windows show no sign of external damage. And finally, operate supply depot equipment. Yep, that's the route. Confirm signals returning from outposts along the route. The routine reports along the way suggest they didn't run into any trouble.
2 months ago. Columbia. Triman's Rhine Lab headquarters. Scientific Investigation Section.
Alright, I'll prepare to depart then. Anything else you need me for?
That should be all. Quietly, there's one last thing, but you can't tell anyone.
Huh? Sure, I can keep a secret.
Glances around. Quietly, Director Merriam's team went missing in the Icefield.
Huh? What happened to Professor Merriam? No.
Quietly, keep it down.
FML.
Quietly, anyway. That's the gist of it. Quietly, so your top priority on this trip is to find and rescue the Director's team. Quietly, the Exploration Society's already organizing their own search and rescue. But I'm sure you know how inefficient they always are. Quietly, so. You're the only one they can count on.
Quietly got it. Operate supply depot equipment. The other outposts seem normal, which means they're still together. Huh? A signal from a Colombian outpost. Operate supply depot equipment. Picks up receiver.
This is beyond base. We're under need coordinates.
A signal sent by Professor Mary himself, which means he should still be there. But it would take some time for the signal to travel all the way here. That's our own cheeks. First things first, Magdalene. Press his console button.
Beep.
For flight, Magdalene.
Identity verified. How may I help you?
Give me both the outgoing and incoming signal logs from Columbia in the last 3 or so months, thanks.
Beginning encrypted callbacks to messenger outpost.
Switches, Consolaffa. Ursus uses the base station established by the Exploration Society too, so that'll be convenient for applying for an Icefield entry permit. I can go as soon as the messenger from Ursus gets here to confirm the documents. I'm on my way, Professor, so stay out of any serious trouble. That was fast. Please give me a moment. I'll be right there. Hi there.
Miss Ventum Magdalene.
Is this Mr. Ivan?
Yes. On business as usual.
One sec, I'll open the door for you. Hello, Mr. Ivan. Would you like to take a rest inside?
You know the rules, Miss Magdalene. If I take even half a step forward, we'll never hear the end of it from the Colombians.
It's just us here. Who's gonna know?
Your little machine is already keeping a close eye on us.
Between you and me, the systems here aren't as smart as you'd think.
Still, better to be safe than sorry when dealing with the Colombians. Not that I don't trust you, of course, but allow me to decline your kind invitation out of an abundance of caution. Now then, if you could show me your documents.
Phew, that should be all of them.
Entry permit, expedition permit, expedition route confirmation, cartography commission. Very good, Miss Magdalene. Everything seems to be in order.
Phew?
That said, I have some unfortunate news for you. All Icefield expedition permits this year have been cancelled.
But the documents should all be...
I doubt this is the first time you've experienced this, so please try to understand our situation.
I have to go. It's surgeon. Could you please manage some kind of workaround?
It's not impossible, if you can tell me why.
Really?
Really.
So the thing is, we have a missing team out there and I need to find them, or at least confirm their situation. There are lives at stake here, so whatever conditions there are, I'll agree to them after I find them.
Then you should have reported this through official channels and waited for an Ursus rescue team. Why set out on your own?
I understand, I really do. But an official rescue team needs time to prepare, right? I'm an explorer to own, pretty familiar with the Icefield if I do say so myself, and finding them even a day earlier will make the follow-up rescue that much simpler. Also...
I understand. Then do you mind sharing the missing group's last known coordinates?
Huh? Okay, just give me a moment. They should be around here.
Thank you. Ursan dialect I've obtained the Colombians' coordinates. Based on them, they likely have something to do with what's happening in the north.
Ursan dialect, very good.
Ursan dialect, what do we do with the girl?
Ursan dialect, she's supposedly a veteran explorer from Colombia. But her importance to the country is unclear. Keep an eye on her and await further instructions.
Ursan dialect, understood.
Mr. Iva.
I just confirmed with my colleagues. My apologies, Miss Magdalene. But we still can't let you head any further north. The front is under military control, so it's out of my hands.
Then...
But to make up for it, I can accompany you anywhere within Ursus territory. My status as an Ursus official should simplify things for you.
let me think that. All right, Sammy. No one would block me if I entered the Icefield through Sammy, right?
In theory, yes. However...
Then let's go to Sammy first. I'm all ready, Mr. Ivan. Please take me there now.
Ursan dialect, she wants to enter the Icefield through Sammy. Do you have enough time to run a background check?
Ursan dialect, just do what she wants. Investigating a Colombian with a public identity won't take long. Ursan dialect, when you reach the border, the guards will send someone to take over your job.
Ursan dialect, Roger.
Ursan dialect, be careful not to let the witch spot you.
Ursan dialect, understood. As you wish, Miss Magdalene.
Captain, a moment, please. You have a question, soldier. Yes, Captain. Regarding... By mission. You have concerns about the military's arrangements. No, sir. I wouldn't dare. I was only thinking about how we treat the Sami. You pity those creatures. Yes, Captain. I think Xien Kaishitin. Wait. What did you just say? I can understand your sympathy. Let me ask you a question, though, soldier. As I recall, you're the son of a farmer. Yes, Captain. Then on your family's land, you must breed burdenabists. You use them to pull your carts, and otherwise create value as your father demands. Do you think those burdenabists would have done any of that on their own, without your father to tame them? Of course not, Captain. So what makes you think the Sami would? That, Captain, after the Ursus people overthrew the Hippogriff's rule, they spent a millennium transforming the land into what Ursus needed it to be. And yet Sami remains a desolate woodland. The Sami have contributed nothing to civilization. I believe that with proper guidance, they will eventually come to understand the painstaking effort Ursus has made here. We've brought them the fire of civilization, so they should be shedding tears of gratitude. Yet their response, well, I believe it goes without saying. Yes, Captain. They understand only strength, and more civilized means of persuasion fall on deaf ears. As such, violence is a necessary evil. But when their descendants are living in sturdy homes and enjoying the products of Ursus culture, then they'll understand. Understood, Captain. A group of Sami sighted ahead, engaged in combat with the demons. Get information, and have the caster team ready their arts. Yes, sir. Captain, you. Not even a disobedient burdenbeast deserves to be devoured by starving beasts. Wouldn't you agree? All units, prepare to attack the demons. Yes, sir. 1 week later, Sami, Ursus border.
Just a little further, and we'll reach the border sentry outpost. And Sami is a short trek from there. This is as far as I can accompany you.
It's been a whole lot easier communicating with anyone from Ursus with you around.
Your Ursan isn't bad, although your accent is thick.
I doubt I'll be fixing that anytime soon. And I still have a lot to learn. Sometimes I can't understand a word you're saying, Mr. Ivan.
It's an obscure regional dialect. Not even other Ursus can understand me sometimes. I could teach you some on your next visit, if you're not so busy next time.
Really? That'd be wonderful, thanks.
You're very welcome. By the way, are you particularly familiar with Sammy?
Well, I've never used this route before, so not really. But I've heard it takes just as many supplies to get through Sammy as it does to enter the Icefield. And there are fewer outposts there as you get nearer to the Icefield. So restocking is difficult too.
Indeed. It is a savage place.
You don't seem to like it much, Mr. Iba.
Normally, there is a permanent garrison at every outpost on the Ursus border. But the Sammy, Ursus border, only has regular patrols. Can you guess why?
Does Ursus have some sort of dispute with Sammy?
The Sammy invaded Ursus territory and attacked our soldiers, all to satisfy their malicious, primitive desires. Even the sentry outpost up ahead was once occupied by the Sammy for no reason at all. We even so kindly helped them repel the demons before issuing a protest to reclaim our territory. But they refused to leave, and even harmed our soldiers. In the end, we had no choice but to drive them out with force.
Is that so? Is that so?
The barbarous Sami exacted their revenge by sending out a vengeful spirit we call the Witch. She killed every last soldier at the outpost, and has been wandering the border ever since. Whenever she runs across a small squad, she'll engulf them in a snowstorm before going in for the kill. But if she meets a larger force, she'll hide in the wind and snow. We can neither get rid of her nor chase her away, a real thorn in our side. In the end, our only option is to strengthen the border defenses with an elite patrol squad, simply to prevent the Sami from wreaking further havoc. You must also be careful when passing through Sami. The moment they spot an outsider, they will not stop until they rip out your throat to sip on your blood. Like the wild beasts swarming the snowfield. We can only keep them in check by force. Am I clear?
Why, yeah, you're clear.
Good. Let's hurry to the outpost and get some rest.
Is the monster still there? It's been driven off, so we should be safe for now. Wonderful. Hey, friends from Ursus, how is the situation over there? No casualties on our end. Freya, do you still have any extra water? Bring some for our Ursus friends, at once. That was a little dangerous earlier. If you guys haven't helped out, some of our fledglings here might already be on their way to meet the ancestors. Please, there's no need for that. We share a common enemy. Where are you people headed to next? We just happened to be passing by while performing our military duties. The people of Ursus Shore are stiff. We just fought demons, and you're still thinking about these military duties of yours. Your brothers must be exhausted. Come rest at our camp. Warm yourselves by the fire, and have some dried meat before hitting the road again, friend. Then, I suppose it would be rude to refuse. There's no need to be so polite. Freya, where's that water? I'm still patching someone up. Give me a moment. Forget about it then. We're bringing them back to camp for drinks. Santoa.
What's wrong?
Double check that there are no more demons in the area, while I take the wounded and our Ursus friends back to camp.
Got it. Then I'll return when I'm done. Remember to leave me a spot under the tree.
But of course, get up, kiddos. Time to head home. Listen up, soldiers. Advance in formation.
Is this really a sentry outpost? It's so spacious. And this tree smack dab in the center. Does Ursus have a custom of planting trees in the middle of buildings, Mr. Ivan?
It was planted by the Sami, and has been dead for a long time. But fortunately, it's sturdy enough to act as a much-needed barrier out here in the snowfield. So we decided to let it stand rather than cutting it down for firewood.
There aren't any other trees in 100 miles. So why would they randomly plant one right in the middle of the snowfield?
I wouldn't know.
Can I collect some samples?
By all means. Ursan dialect, we've arrived at the Dead Tree Outpost. The witch has not bothered us.
Ursan dialect, we finished our investigation into the girl too. Her background is unremarkable, but we can make use of her expertise. Ursan dialect, the border guards will move to your position as soon as they can. They'll take the girl and pass her on to the investigation team. who need someone to guide them across the Icefield. Ursan dialect your role ends there.
Ursan dialect understood. I'll go ahead and prepare the signal beacon to connect at any time. Ursan dialect, my apologies, little one.
My apologies. Friend, what are you doing? Lower your weapons. My duty is to expand our territory for His Majesty the Emperor. What? From today onwards, this too is Ursa's territory. No. What? What exactly do you mean? Did I not make myself clear, barbarian? This is the only settlement within 100 kilometers. Once we occupy it, Great Ursus will naturally be the master of this land. As this is now Ursa's territory, I must request that you leave. We've been living here for ages, while all you've done is plant a flag. What grounds do you have to claim this land as yours? Because we're here now. No more reason is needed. In honor of our friendship and mutual assistance against the demons, I'll give each of you the choices. Leave this place at once, or become subjects of Ursus. You and your people are excellent warriors, so our nation will gladly welcome you. You must learn to speak Ursan, wear Ursus clothing, and most importantly, abandon your abominable and heretical beliefs. Yeah, silently mount a spell. Caster, shut that witch up. Freya, don't do anything foolish, and don't even think about resisting. Speaking in Sammy Old Tree, I plead you bear witness in my stead. Here, you leave me no choice. Friend, all units, attack.
Ursan dialect, please speak.
Ursan dialect, the wind from the direction of the border guard seems off, so there might be an incoming snowstorm. Find an open space to deploy a signal beacon for them, and upon making contact, take the target, and leave the area immediately.
Ursan dialect understood. I see you're done collecting samples.
This tree has some amazing properties. Biologically speaking, it's completely withered. But what's strange is how parts of it still feel alive and well. With more thorough research, I might even be able to publish a whole paper on it.
A great blessing to academia. No doubt. But there's a snowstorm coming, so you'd better go shelter in the outpost first.
Gotcha. You're not joining me, Mr. Ivan?
I'm going to go check the scale of the storm, so that if the weather worsens, we'll still have a chance to send for help.
Okay. Please have some of this before you go. I just heated up some water, so have a cup to warm yourself up.
That's all right. I'll be right back.
Mr. Iva, why am I hiding in here by the fire while he's hard at work outside? I'm an explorer, aren't I? How can I let my companion face this alone? Maybe I should, So, looks towards the window. Oh, my face hurts. The wind's picking up. You need to be careful, Mr. Ivan. That's... Mr. Iva? No, that's not, that's...
A gust of wind keys up waves of snow, pouring towards the outpost. However, the waves seem to advance only sluggishly, at a controlled speed, as if commanded to do so. This is not an optical illusion caused by the distance, but the wind and snow are indeed following orders. They dare not let even a snowflake overtake their leader without permission. And she, currently leading the wind's charge, holds her scepter high as she slowly makes her way towards the outpost. One step, then another. Smooth, steady, unquestionable, until the land is buried beneath the wind and snow. Or so it might have gone. But Magellan welcomes this scene, more than anyone else on the northern frontier, because the woman walking amongst the ice and snow is her best friend on the Icefield.
Simba!
As her shout travels across the snow, Magellan clearly feels the wind subside. The waves of snow behind Simone vanish without a trace as she walks up to Magellan.
Hello, Magellan. Shouldn't you be out on an Icefield expedition? What brings you here?
A professor I respect has gone missing out there, but Ursus blocked the route again? So I have to take the long way around. I warmed up some tea. Want some?
What? Thank you. Good luck. Here. So you want to enter the Icefield from Sammy?
Right. Simone, you're a Sammy, right?
That I am.
Then you...
How could I possibly not help out a good acquaintance?
Okay, then I'll say goodbye to Mr. Ivan when he gets back, and then we can head into Sammy. Although I've heard it's kinda primitive there, and really scary.
Is that what the Ursus messenger told you?
He also said there's a witch around here who attacks people for no reason, so I should be careful.
The Ursus are all like that. So what kind of person do you imagine this witch to be?
A little scary. Just like this tree. Ivan really seems to loathe Sammy, though. He was so upfront about it, too.
Us Sammy hate the Ursus just as much.
Couldn't you just talk out this misunderstanding?
Because to them, conquest is far simpler than understanding. They may see just one annoying witch, but countless Sammy have already. No, it's getting late. Where did you say your friend was headed?
North, towards the snowstorm.
Wait here. I'll go help him out.
I think it's better if we go together.
Stay put, Magdalene. You're safer in here.
Okay, then. Be careful out there, Simone. And be careful of the witch, yeah?
If she does show up, I'll be sure to stay far away from her. In the meantime, could you warm up some more tea?
And now I'm all alone again. I hope Mr. Ivan and Simone can get along out there. What do you think, Mr. Tree?
The ancient, dead tree responds with silence.
How can they fight off a common enemy together 1 minute and go for each other's throats the next? Isn't cooperation obviously the better choice?
The venerable tree ponders for a moment, and decides to answer by smacking its withered branches together.
What about you, Mr. Tree? Did you come here to this snowfield all on your own because other people couldn't understand you?
The towering tree feels the question is difficult to answer, so chooses to remain silent.
You're right. That was a stupid question. But if possible, I still hope we can nod.
I'm that.
Sima? Oh, here's your tea.
Thank you.
So where's Mr. Ivan?
I looked where you told me to, but couldn't find the messenger you mentioned. The storm from the north is close. Perhaps he's already rendezvoused with the border guards he called for help, and taken refuge with them. Ursa's sentry outposts aren't sturdy enough to withstand a snowstorm this strong. This building will be completely crushed. We might also want to.
Wait just a bit longer? Mr. Ivan is a pretty experienced messenger, and we've known each other a long time, so I don't think he'd be caught by a snowstorm like this.
If you insist, just a bit longer. I'll let the old tree know that we're safe.
Simone, are you from around here?
It used to be my duty to protect this unchanging old tree. It may have transcended death, but failed to be remembered. And to think all this happened because of a moment of kind-heartedness. We sow good will only to reap evil. This is how the land does things.
So, that's why there's a witch roaming nearby?
Perhaps. It's about time. We'll be trapped in here if we don't get moving. What are you doing?
Finding a spot protected from the wind to leave a mark for him. I have to at least let him know I made it out safely. That should do it. I'm leaving, Mr. Iva. Goodbye.
Let's go, Magdalene.
The wind and snow seem so docile when I'm with you, Simone.
Just a little arts I happen to know.
That communicator on your shoulder. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
This? I bought it from the Ursus. It works quite well. Do you need one?
Holomian communicators are way easier to use than Ursus ones. Simo.
Yes.
I need to apologize to you for. I hope you won't get angry.
I won't know until I hear it.
Do we have news on Lazel and the other men who disappeared? Yeah, we can stop search. Demons have been through here. The ice there has arts damage. It was a hard fight. They're all roots of the frost maple and respected warriors, but not even their bodies remain. Bad weather is known to befall the Icefield, but this kind of weather has been happening far too often of late. Hadn't Sammy long since warned us, the Raigthrainer? Come, we must reinforce the fortifications, and keep a close eye on every mountain pass.
Logs and notebook, we've entered the Chal Veteran. The current temperature is 30 degrees below zero. So far, I have yet to find any calm stations within Sami borders, and haven't been able to make contact with Director Merriam's expedition team. If Professor Mary isn't around, who am I even going to send these notes to? Every time he reads my reports, he points out all the phenomena I should have paid closer attention to. We've passed through the local settlement mentioned in previous expedition records at the foot of the Chal Veteran, near the edge of the forest. Even though I only lost a single glove, it feels so cold.
Need a hand, Magdalene.
Oh, it's all right, Simone. I'm almost done with this report. I'll be ready to leave the shelter and brave the blizzard soon. Now, where was I? Right, the settlement had vanished. I asked Simone. Quickly erases a. I asked an accompanying Sammy about this. And it seems that Sami tribes are known to move around.
Why did they move?
I tried looking into it, but couldn't figure anything out. Simone told me that it was Sami herself. She told them that danger was drawing near and that they had to leave. But the climate data we've collected so far aren't all that different from the historical record, and there don't seem to be any changes in long-term trends either. So what kind of danger is Sammy facing?
Looks like the scientific investigation section's data needs to be updated.
Right, Sammy is still a blind spot in our knowledge. But it seems the Sammy really don't like being disturbed. You've always wanted to work with them, but haven't been able to. It takes so much effort to get our applications processed in Ursus. If we could just find a new path into the Icefield through Sammy and build more research stations, our expeditions would be so much easier.
Unfortunately, the Sami don't want anyone in the Icefield.
Right? Was I just talking to Professor Mary? Simone?
What's the matter?
I just ideo. Do you see a group of people over there? There's too much snow. I can't quite.
Nag. Ellen.
Is it really Professor Mary? Simone? I need to head over there for a look.
Magdalene.
It's really, thank goodness. I found you guys. I knew you'd be safe. What? How come I can't speak? Huff. My heart's beating too fast. Am I trembling? Why? No. I need to stop the professor and take them back. Professor,
Don't look. Don't speak. I don't blame you, Simone. It's been a long time since your last visit. It's no wonder you didn't sense it. Not as much as her, but still a visitor. The route you took hasn't been used for a long time. So you're lucky I take this detour every time.
So the warriors still haven't accepted you even now. But the land herself clearly regards you as a beloved child. In any case, thank you for your help, Typhon.
No need to pay me back. The food I hid around here is more than enough to last me a few months. So you said you were heading to the Icefield to look for missing Southerners. Then let me come with you. The missing men must have run into trouble. I'll help you protect them. Yumu, I can talk now. Is it okay if I talk? Listen up. Don't move. Why are you raising your hands? Because I heard the Sami are very fierce. And they don't like it when others enter the Icefield. I'm really not plotting anything bad. Well, the warriors here are indeed fierce, but I'm no warrior. Anyway, I woke you up just now with my arts. But you can still hear the voices, right? Yeah, I can. I've realized it's a hallucination by now. I'm not stupid enough to keep talking to it, right? I should jot this down in my notes too. So do you know what causes these hallucinations? Exhaustion due to the extreme weather. Maybe something in the water that paralyzes the central nervous system. Come here. Your ear. Ooh, whispers okay? Go ahead and tell me. Alright. Now the other side. Huh? Weren't you going to whisper something? Did you just rub something on my ears? It felt kinda cold. Now put this under your tongue and press down on it. Moss in a bowl of mud. I know that explorers sometimes boil leather when they're completely out of food, but I've never considered eating moss in an emergency. Alright, Magdalene, be brave and give it a shot. Stop being so suspicious of everything. Just put it in your mouth. Now you'll only hear your own voice and won't be bothered by those strange noises. You're so helpful. Wait, but won't I be deaf to any environmental dangers too? It'll also affect my balance when I climb. It's too risky.
Don't be afraid. Just trust Typhon. We'll take you somewhere where the snow's not contaminated.
Yeah? We'll give you a hand signal when you can spit the mud out.
The young explorer suddenly stops and looks in a direction where no one's standing. The brief pause lasts only 2 seconds. She quickly follows Typhon's directions and squeezes the mud bowl into her mouth as though nothing unusual had happened.
Yeah, I can't hear anything now. Stop.
There's must be first scattered in the snow. It's a kind of detection arts. Good thing you held Magdalene back. We couldn't escape the warrior's eyes, but at the very least our visit seems a little more respectful this way.
Should we have her spit out the mud bowl? You can fill her in on the situation. If her plan was to enter the Icefield this way, then she probably knows nothing about the northern front.
No need. Leave the negotiations to me. Most of these warriors would chase us off with their hammers the moment they hear Colombian or the common tongue. See?
Besides the Legion. They aren't going to talk to us.
You, daughter of the Untitled Tree.
Greetings, warriors of Triscar.
You're with an outling. And the hunter with the black bow.
Indeed. But please don't be so quick to attack. This outlander asks nothing of Sammy. We simply seek to enter the endless Icefield.
The Sami warriors surround them in silence. They show no intention of backing off. Though silent, their stances remain unchanged, with their hands on their weapons. Regardless, Santala seems to know exactly what it is they need to hear.
I understand. It's against the rules. No one should enter the Icefield rashly. You built these high walls not only to keep the Icefield disasters at bay, but also to stop the Sami and wild beasts. But her dear mentor has disappeared in the Icefield. She is earnestly trying to rescue someone who is practically family to her, and I hope you can make an exception.
The Sami warriors do not move an inch.
Please trust us. We will take care of the Southerner and prevent her from acting rashly against Sami. She won't become lost and absolutely won't become your enemy. We are accompanying her in order to take care of any worst-case scenarios that might happen to her or the missing men.
Trust that black bow too. You want us to trust the daughter of a crazed Cyclops.
That black bow means nothing. She fights the same enemy as you.
Her mind may be clear, but that doesn't mean her weapon won't bring misfortune. There was a time when we brought back the belongings of every last fallen warrior, until we realized that the enemy could find us through their contaminated relics. I'm sure you know this well. Simone from under the Santala tree.
I am a shaman no longer, but if that identity will make you reconsider, then I am more than happy to use it.
There are still many among us who remember the warrior who almost became a snow priest. But she ran from her duties, so we do not intend to bring up her past.
Her power can still take care of those around her. The team that went missing amounts to more than a dozen men. The northern warriors I know would never turn a blind eye, with so many lives on the line.
You must bear the harshness of fate, daughter of the Santala tree. Endure it. Do not run away.
Those are Eichthriner's words. Did he learn something from his divination? About the whole northern realm?
I've no answers for outsiders. But Eichthriner has already led many a warrior south, to and from each tribe of Sami's whispers.
I understand. If Sami has made her prophecy, I shan't insist on entering the Icefield. But now that it's come to this, we lack the supplies to head back down the mountain and take the long way around. Even though the demon's contamination spreads without end, we have no choice but to continue our journey through the mountains and through the pass guarded by your warriors.
Supplies. You only have the Southerners' shortcomings to blame. They claim the land a barren wilderness, which is why they find themselves unable to survive in nature.
I'm simply asking that you...
So let's go, Samo. You don't owe them an explanation.
Wait, that hand signal. Are you for real?
Yeah, trust me. Just hold on a moment. So bitter. Let me explain. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just an explorer. The only thing in these crates are reserve drones. I can open them up if you want to look. I'm not trying to sneak into the Icefield either. I just didn't know how to get in touch with the Sami government to submit an application. Wait, does Sami have a government? I haven't actually seen anything resembling one, but... I do have the documents I was going to hand over to Ursus. My ID, exploration permit, and the abandoned Drew plans. They all prove that I'm just an explorer, nothing more. Anyway, Simone and Typhon have both been so nice to me. Please don't blame them. If it's me that you're suspicious of, I'll explain everything. Huh?
She's not imagining things. Everyone's expressions grow increasingly solemn with every word she says. They're all looking behind her, as though they too can hear her hallucinations.
Well, you bird brain. You brought an omen of disaster right into the group. This way.
Is this the path you mentioned?
That's right. That was close. The arrow hit the rock. Thanks, Drak. Thanks, Jal Veteran. They probably mistook it for one of us, in this thick snowfall. Your arts come in handy, Simone. I knew I could trust you to keep us hidden. Okay, now this way.
It's gotten quiet.
Let me check. Yeah, I don't see them anymore. Good. We shook them off.
Or perhaps they stopped giving chase.
Whatever the case, we should be safe now, right? All of a sudden, I'm out of breath. Give me your hand. I'll help you. The expedition equipment and my protective gear are all just heavy. When they designed this extreme north exploration gear, they probably didn't think we'd need to run in the mountains. No, wait. I need to apologize. I couldn't hear anything earlier, but it looked like you were bickering because of me. And then, I got ahead of myself and started shouting. The director always tells me to think before I act, but maybe it's because I have no idea what's so scary about these hallucinations, but I didn't really think that through, did I? No need to apologize. Nature doesn't debate Triton wrong. All that matters is closeness. The same goes for those northern warriors just now. Closeness? They're just like a chain of mountains. No matter what you say to them, you will never become part of the mountains. All you can do is try your hardest to surmount them. Of course, you also can't tell the mountains that they're wrong and should be flat ground instead. Why are they so unwilling to talk it out? Let's set aside whether they could even understand you. Those warriors normally have no need for words. See? If you and I lived together all day, every day, and everything we did was the same daily routine patrolling, hunting, fighting, we wouldn't have much reason to talk. Because we'd be too used to everything. No, because communication is only needed when we think different thoughts. That's why I call them a chain of mountains.
Besides, they have to deal with the Ursus too. To them, they must be wary of any outlanders whose intentions they cannot discern at a single glance. It may seem a little cruel, but it's how they have to live. In Sami, one must accept fate, no matter what from it takes.
In Sami fate. The signal I gave back there was for Simone to run. When you're dealing with those warriors, most of the time you're going to have to back down. You can't count on them giving way. That said, now we can't reach the Icefield to find your teacher. So yeah. So what are you going to do now? I guess I'll go to Kappa to request help.
That's the southernmost city in Sami, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where a lot of Colombian companies have their only branch offices in Sami. Now that the Ursus route is sealed off, it's the only place the Exploration Society can mount a rescue from. I'll rendezvous with them and try my best to collect information on the route. After all, nobody's really all that familiar with Sami. I'll keep escorting you then. I don't need Paimon. I have no use for most of the trinkets Southerners offer. I just happen to have a client waiting for me in Capit. Oh, thanks. What about you, Simone?
I promised I'd stay with you, didn't I? But Typhon, where does this path lay? I find it hard to imagine that there are still paths in this mountain that the scouts haven't discovered.
That's because this takes us to where Arja's lives.
A Cyclops' cave.
Yeah, I guess it's my home too. At least, I grew up there. I may have used Sarka's arts to cover our tracks, but any veteran shaman is bound to figure it out in an instant. But I doubt they'd want to disturb a Cyclops. No one likes hearing the prophesized tragedies doomed to befall them after all. If they kept chase, I'd have to count on Arja's being home to help us out. Luckily, they weren't so patient.
This is making me feel uneasy, though. They gave up far too easily, almost as if they abandoned us in the snow.
There's nothing to fear. I'm watching our surroundings.
The snow creaks beneath their feet.
All right. The disaster you two mentioned earlier. What's that all about? If we were able to find the source of the auditory hallucinations and bring back samples to Rhine for analysis, maybe we could find a more long-term remedy.
Neither of them answer Magellan right away. Instead, the sound of their boots sinking into the snow grows louder by the step.
What a strange question. Do you people think that catastrophes, the cold, or the fangs of a mangler will just up and disappear one day? The disaster is relatively less common. But, if it comes knocking on your door, you cannot defeat it. Just like now.
The sound of their footsteps in the snow stops. While she wasn't paying attention, the snow had become light as a feather. Magellan blinks and does a double take.
Am I hallucinating again? Or is it snowing upwards?
No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. The snow is floating midair, above our heads.
I need to gather samples. Give me a minute to activate the drones. A snowflake that's still floating upward. Got it. Next, snow that's accumulated midair. Watch out.
The snow crumbles downward, and from what I can barely make out given the visibility, there seems to be a lot more accumulated in the sky up ahead. If we keep going, it's enough to bury all three of us once it comes crumbling down.
This phenomenon must have been around for a while. They already knew about it, so they stopped giving chase. They knew we were prey-driven into a dead end.
Not even a Snowpriest Sarts can do anything about this. And nor can I. Any snow I summon will only float upward and break free from my control. Wait, Magellan, stay close to us. It's dangerous to go alone.
I just need to get a little farther away to collect samples. If the drones lose their balance while gathering and knock down the midair snow, only I'll be buried. Whoa, that was close. Do you feel it? The snow is trembling. Each step we take awakens it.
But a girl like her won't stop here.
Give me your hand. Most people don't like doing this, but given the circumstances, we should give it a shot. Right. To make sure the blood flows onto the arrowhead, I'll need to cut a little deeper. But you don't need me to worry about you, right?
Do what you must, Typhon. Just don't cut too deep because our hands are numbed by the cold. The snow is coming down more quickly.
The black seeds buried in the soil know my bow and arrows. This is exactly why people always misunderstand me. Okay, it's just Magdalene left. Magdalene, what's your status?
Oh, I'm fine. It's just the snow fell down and blocked the path. Let me switch to the snow clearing module. Okay, you two come on over now.
Give me your hand first. Take off your glove.
Give me a bit of time to steel myself first. Okay, here.
That'll do it.
The arrow, soaked in the three women's blood, breezes through the cold wind. With a loud bang, an entire slab of frozen snow comes crashing down onto a cliff to the side.
Sarka's witchcraft.
The snow up to there won't fall anymore. I'll keep an eye out for the next place that looks dangerous and deal with it ahead of time in the same way. Let's keep going.
I found a few more dead hornbests close to the spring water. We followed the Samivillain, the will of the land, and moved our entire tribe from the foot of the mountain all the way through the tundra. So why aren't we free of the disaster's corrosion yet? We should try the divination one more time. Just one more time. To see when the land will finally grant us peace. Or do you mean the Cyclops that traveled with us back then was telling the truth? That there would come a day when desolation would befall our tribe?
Didn't you say that somebody lived here?
Yeah. And that I used to live here too. So she's not here as usual.
But, this is a cave? Too bad Simone had to leave because something came up. If she were here, she could tell me if this is normal or not.
Huh?
Nothing. Just wondering how I should describe this place in my notes.
Whatever works for you. Here, jerky and salt. Argus isn't stingy. You can take whatever you want. Now we should have enough supplies to make it to the bottom of the mountain.
Thanks, Typhon. But hold on. I don't know this Argus you're talking about. Seems a bit rude.
She herself said, and I quote in Sarkis, anything with its curtain pulled open can be shared. You can take that to mean she doesn't care.
Well, don't mind if I do. Also, is it okay if I make a detailed record of the cave in its current state? I want to take a few pictures too. I promise I won't make a mess.
Why even ask? When you're done, come by the fire and rest.
Gotcha. Right? And can I look at these notes too?
Go ahead. Only she can understand what's in there anyway.
Right, Typhon. There's something I've been meaning to ask. Logically speaking, when you hallucinate, you shouldn't hear any words you don't know, or any concepts you've never heard of, right?
I'm not sure I follow your logic. But what about it?
Anyway, take a look at this page. When the box is opened, and Scattertini will realize. That's the last thing I heard the director say. Before you help me cut off the noise from my surroundings.
This Ursa's communicator. It's getting a signal. The question is, how long ago was it sent?
Reporting. To Army border guards, with the help of Liebefull, Black Mark, in Sammy.
Breathe in on.
Huh?
Breathe out.
Phew.
Heat this.
Okay, yeah, so sour.
At least it's edible, right? You'll get used to it. This too.
How come this nut is hollow?
Like a bubble.
Huh?
The locals call them bubbles. You hardly feel anything when you eat them, but they're very important for climbing these mountains. Do you feel better now? Does your head still hurt?
I'm fine now. These fruits and nuts are way better than altitude sickness pills, at least. So, do you know how they work?
No. But does it really matter? As long as they do?
I gotta jot this down and bring some samples back with me. My colleagues in Pharmaceutical Red would love to hear about this.
Did you bring any of those pills?
For altitude sickness, of course.
You should take a look at the active ingredients.
Rummages through baggages. Here they are. Wild sorberries and bubblinate extract. You mean?
One of Sammy's primary exports to Colombia is raw medicinal ingredients. Although I hear your company plans to cut off all trade with us as soon as they figure out how to synthesize or cultivate them themselves. Unfortunately for them, that will never happen. Not with something from Sammy.
You're saying we can recreate the growth conditions in Colombia?
No, of course you can. But even if you did, what sprouts from the soil wouldn't be the same plants. For one very simple reason.
In Sammy, because everything is provided by Sammy.
In Sammy, everything is provided by Sammy.
Himbok and Sammy everything.
Provided by Sammy.
You pick up languages quickly. When we first met, you needed Simone to translate for you whenever you wanted to say something about Sammy.
Your Colombian's not bad at all either.
Her just speaks so well. That's why I can manage.
I see the tree line. The mountain folk won't bother us anymore.
Phew, finally. A place to have a good meal.
Do trees mean better food?
The mountains have meat, but no fruit. The forest is different. There are all kinds of food there. Anything you could want to eat.
Pulls out notes and starts writing forest has abundant resources.
Typhon, is there a settlement nearby?
Yes, and it's a tribe with a tree.
Then they must have lived here in peace for many years.
What does that mean?
Each forest tribe has their own clan tree. If they don't, then they must either be up and coming, or they manage to lose even their tree. Whichever the case, it's laughable. Will this tribe listen to us?
I believe they're quite friendly. But either way, I can guarantee they will be more welcoming than the mountain tribes.
Huh?
Of course. The mountain warriors fight the monsters in the north and the unfriendly Ursus all year round. So you can't blame them for being so uptight. Some of them are less cold when they leave the front lines for home.
Well, that's good to hear. So, how do the Sami usually categorize themselves?
It's pretty easy to remember. The ones farthest to the north who live in the mountains are the mountain folk. The ones who live in the middle in the forest and its surroundings are the forestfolk. And the ones who live in the wetlands to the far south are the marshfolk.
What about you then?
Me? I'm a hunter.
Going by the classifications you just gave me, shouldn't it be based on what environment you're from?
I'm a Sarkis. I don't have a fixed place to live. And I don't belong to a tribe. So naturally, I live outside the rules.
Then what about Simone?
Shimon?
I'm a Rhodes Islander.
Rhodes? I've never heard of an island like that here.
Is Rhodes Island another category here?
Perhaps. Here we are.
It's like a vertical nomadic city. I've never seen the... I've got to take a picture.
It doesn't seem so different from last time, but why does it look like they're all moving things outside?
Insami, welcome. Friends.
And Sammy, thank you for your hospitality, attendant of the tree. We came from the north. Would it be convenient for us to stay the night?
Insami, of course, honorable shaman. We always enjoy receiving guests. In any other circumstances, your arrival would be reason enough for a feast. Insami, alas, as you can see, we are preparing to move from this land that has long been our home. We leave on the morrow. In Sami, you will find many of our houses on the tree empty tonight. You and your companions may pick any of them to rest in. The tree won't mind.
In Sammy, I thank the tree and your tribe for your generosity.
In Sami, you are very welcome. Please, come in. In Sami, once you have settled down, please come to the ancestral home at the top of the tree. We may have need of your wisdom.
Nuts. We have their permission to stay the night. Let's pick the house closest to the branch there.
Finally, sleeping indoors.
Is that important?
How else can you rest easy? Otherwise, you're up all night from worry.
Is that so... That's awfully picky of you.
It's not. Let me explain that. Waterproof pad. Sleeping bag there? What's so funny?
Oh, I just thought it was amusing that you put in all this effort just to sleep.
We don't get this chance every day, so I'm gonna make the most of it and get as comfy as I can. Want to try it yourself?
No need. As long as I have my robe to wrap myself in, I can sleep anywhere. Really?
Can't hurt to give it a try, can it?
Alright.
Just squeeze yourself in there. I won't zip it up.
Like beef skin. But it feels lighter than that.
These are our rations for tonight.
Alright, thanks. You can leave Typhon's over here.
What's wrong with her?
I had her try out my sleeping bag and she fell asleep just like that.
I need to step out for a second and speak with the shaman here. If you want to go outside, you should take Typhon with you. The Forstock may be friendlier, but they won't appreciate it if you don't follow their rules.
Okay, got it. Have a safe trip, Simone. Hey, Typhon. She seems pretty exhausted. I'll just take a few photos from the doorway.
In Sammy, you requested my presence, ma'am.
In Sami, yes. Thank goodness you've come. In Sami, allow me to explain the situation. As you can see, we are preparing to move.
In Sammy, we encountered some trouble on our journey from the mountains. Are you facing similar issues here?
In Sami, indeed. In Sami, thankfully, there are no victims yet, but my tribesmen tell me of a number of ill omens we've received. In Sammy, most importantly. There's this.
In Sammy, Corona, right.
In Sammy, Samavillain is clear. Regardless of the reason, my tribe must depart for a more suitable home.
In Sammy, I understand. In Sammy, but then, why did you summon me?
In Sammy, please take a look at this.
In Sammy, I mustn't. This is your tribe's register. In Sammy, I am an outsider.
In Sammy, I understand your concerns, my friend. In Sammy, I've lived in this forest ever since I was a child, as did my father, his father, and all of our ancestors. In Sammy, but because we have lived such quiet, comfortable lives for so long, this register has become barely more than a symbol for us, an inheritance. In Sammy, when I flip it open, I find myself unable to understand all of its words. In Sammy, I've studied it with my family, and communicated with my ancestors in hopes of understanding of the symbols within. In Sammy, but I feel as though we are still missing some. In Sammy, you are a shaman too, are you not?
In Sammy, I was.
In Sammy, as long as you were once, your wisdom will undoubtedly be of assistance to us, friend. In Sammy, please have a look. We need your advice.
Huh. Sleeping bags are actually pretty comfortable. Madeline? Where is she? Things seem pretty noisy outside. Huh. Outlander. Touching the clan tree? Oh no, it has to be that bird brain. I knew I couldn't take samples, but I had no idea I wasn't even supposed to touch it. The tribe's tree is their oldest, most respected presence. Under normal circumstances, an outsider wouldn't even get the chance to stay in their tree houses. Would you touch an ancient monument for no good reason? That, or... Do you have any wise elders where you're from? President, okay. If you were to run up to your president and touch their face, how would others react? I'd probably be tackled to the ground by Secret Service agents before I got within 10 feet of him. It's like that. Luckily, these people are peaceful. All they've done is talk behind your back. If we were anywhere more Hathaded, they might have taken an axe to your head. I'm sorry. Simone told you to take me with you when you go outside. How could you forget? I just wanted to take a few pictures, but the tree looked like it had a nice texture, so I wanted to see it up close, and... Huh? You heard what she said? Weren't you asleep? I could hear her while asleep. TH, then how come you didn't wake up when I called your name? Because I was asleep. Anyway, you've learned your lesson. Don't get hung up on it. Do you want to try some tasty fruits and nuts? They have any here? I saw a lot of them in the forest. Come, we'll pick as many as we can. Enough for Simone too. We can eat them on the road tomorrow.
You two are back.
We got some fresh fruits. Do you want any Simone? Yeah.
We should rest now. Maggle.
Eh?
Typhon, what did you feed her?
It wasn't me. She picked some nuts and asked if they were poisonous. I said no, and before I could even finish, she'd stuffed her mouth full of them.
Silencing chestnuts. You should rest then. A good night's sleep ought to fix it. Good night.
Good night, Simone. Ma'am. What's wrong? You keep the sleeping bag. I don't need it. Sweet dreams.
Magdalene can still remember how fluffy and warm her sleeping bag was, and how rhythmic the breathing of those around her was. It was a quiet, comfortable environment. Just perfect for rest. But the moment she opens her eyes, she finds herself in the forest. A blanket of greenery drapes over her waist. The trees around her have shrouded the moonlight above. It is completely dark all around. She feels thirsty, so she follows the sound of water to a stream. She bends down to drink from it. Nothing is out of the ordinary. Everything is exactly as it should be, even when she sees the reflection in the water. Even if the reflection in the water is that of a muspiest.
Squeak, Cleo.
The night is dark, quiet, and full of terrors. Magdalene instinctively senses danger. She quickly lies down and breezes through the bushes before climbing onto the tree marked with her secretions. The nest she calls home.
Squeak.
It is safe there. There she will find her kin, her family. She stands on the tree branch and squeals, waiting for a reply. Nothing. She hesitates a little, but in the end hops onto the tree trunk and back into her nest. There, her mother is fast asleep in the shadows. She wants to snuggle up to her, to get through the night in her embrace. But once her eyes adjust to the darkness, she finds only a scattered pile of beast bones. The nest is very wide and very dark, almost like there's something waiting for her. Waiting for her to come home. Waiting for her to lower her guard. Waiting for her to be overwhelmed by fear. Something climbs onto the back of her neck. The nightmare left Magdalene feeling sick. She wants to walk out the door, catch her breath, and calm herself down before going back to sleep. But the moment she steps outside, what she sees makes her doubt that she has actually awoken from her dream. There is a large, shadowy entity roaming here. It looks like a person, and also kind of like a tree. The large shadow is moving in a single direction at a slow yet steady pace. The entity shrouds even the moon above, keeping the ground below out of the moonlight's reach.
What is this? I need to get a picture of it.
Click.
That's not possible. It makes no sense.
In the photo she just took, the shadow was nowhere to be seen and the moonlight illuminates the ground. Everything looks perfectly normal, but the shadow still moves before her eyes, without a sound. Magdalene stands rooted to the spot. She doesn't know if she should head back inside to sleep as if nothing had happened, or go grab her equipment and measure this possibly unrecordable supernatural phenomenon as best she can. Just as she finds herself lost in thought, the enormous shadow sweeps past her. She instinctively jumps back, and at the same time, something climbs onto the back of her neck.
What are you doing out here? Say relax, Magdalene. Calm down. I'm here is going to hurt you. Phew. Don't try talk yet. Calm down first. Have a seat, and drink some water. It doesn't matter how big that guy is. It's just a shadow. Feeling any better? Thanks. You almost scared me to death. You're stronger than I expected. I was looking forward to you screaming loud enough to wake everyone up. Are they going to kick me out of the village tonight then? No. The Samyard, that narrow-minded, had a nightmare. Let me guess. One where a beastling cub goes home, finds its mother's bones, and then gets eaten? Huh? Did you have the same dream? Yep. Just this afternoon in your sleeping bag. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. It comes whenever I rest in a safe, relaxing environment. Like an unwelcome friend. This is one of the bad things about Sammy. The cycle of hunt or be hunted never ends. Even in your dreams. And in dreams, most find themselves on the side of the hunted. Then, can we become the hunters? Wouldn't you rather be the rules themselves? Is that even possible? Who knows? Maybe it is. Once we become more mature. When we're no longer afraid of these big guys. Magdalene, why don't we try touching it? Huh? Isn't that dangerous? I thought you were an explorer. Why are you so afraid? Stop pulling, yo. We stepped on the tree. It's not the main trunk. Stepping on it a little won't hurt. Besides, no one's around to see. This is a great spot. Let's sit here. Are you sure we're not too close? How are we supposed to touch it from far away? Are we really going to touch it? It's just a shadow. There's nothing to be scared of. Or to exact, it's only a shadow for now. A very, very faint one. Maybe one day it will grow into a more concrete threat. But we'll have grown too. We'll have even more tricks up our sleeves. So when that time comes, maybe these things won't be so scary to us anymore. Besides, I can sometimes hear a voice in that dream where we're preyed on. If something ever scares you, you should attack it without hesitation. If you defeat it, you will have defeated fear. If you run from it, you will always be afraid. Come.
Magdalene uneasily looks at the curtain-like shadow before her. The cruel and oppressive feeling she felt in her dreams still haunts her mind. Part of her tells her not to take the risk, but she slowly reaches her hand out.
Just like that. Slowly. It'll be fine. I'll deal with you.
Typhon places her palm on the back of Magdalene's hand and gently pushes it forward. The moment they're met with a hint of resistance, she stops pushing forward and instead reaches forward ahead of Magdalene's hand. She dips her hand into the shadow and pulls it back out. Then, she places it back on Magdalene's hand.
See? Nothing to be afraid of. I'll give it a try.
Magdalene's hand inches forward bit by bit, until her fingertips are finally submerged in the shadow. She thought she would feel a hint of cold, or perhaps that something would suck her in or chew on her fingers. But there was nothing. Nothing. First, up to a joint. Then, a whole finger. Finally, her whole hand. The shadow still moves, but aside from the change in the light, nothing happens at all. Exactly as Typhon said. It's just a shadow.
How is it? Just like I said, right? You're right, there's nothing. How did something like this happen in the first place? Still hung up on those scientific principles of yours? Things don't just happen without rhyme or reason. Then how come our mothers gave birth to you and me, and not to anybody else? Based on your logic, isn't that something with no rhyme or reason? Well, that's because...
It seems like you Southerners really need to have a reason for everything. But if you ask me, I think it's more important to be able to face the unknown at any time, even if I'm not prepared.
Get scared?
Do you? When you encounter a blizzard in the Icefield, an avalanche in the mountains, or a pack of beasts when you're alone.
But I still think I'll manage to survive somehow.
If you can manage to survive even when you're scared, you've already accomplished the most difficult thing there is. And in that case, what else is there to be afraid of? Even if the shadow in front of us were to suddenly turn into a real monster, you wouldn't be afraid, would you?
If there were something that actually exists, we could deal with it. This is just a shadow.
Everything that exists has a weak point. You wait, observe, and survive until the moment you find that weakness, and then you attack. That's how hunters have always lived. You're an explorer, so you're something like half a hunter. I'm sure you can handle these things too. Nothing stays the same forever. Maybe there will come a day when the things that once scared you are afraid of you instead. Don't overthink it. We have to be on the road tomorrow. Oh, right. Want a fruit before you go back to bed?
No thanks. Eating sugar before bed is how you get cavities.
Alright. Up to you. Good night.
Nighty-night, Taifa.
Magdalene turns around and looks at the hovering shadow once more. But for some reason, she doesn't think it represents fear and emptiness this time. It feels more like a traveler who has lost his bearings and doesn't know where to go, simply wandering the lands aimlessly. Maybe, by the time the sun rises, it will have gone back home for a good night's sleep. Click. Magdalene takes another picture. Just like before. There is nothing in the photograph. She thinks a little, and adds a note on the picture. Mr. Lungs. Finally, everything is quiet once more. Only the wandering shadow is left to hover around alone, until daybreak.
It should almost be time. I wonder what kind of ceremony this is. Ooh, it's starting. The Sami begin the ceremony by singing and dancing around their clan tree. Perhaps this is meant to be a farewell to the tree.
10 minutes later.
The dance is very unique but disorderly. Everyone dances on their own. It's almost like a carnival.
30 minutes later.
Yan?
Is Simone here yet?
Oh, she's right under the tree, talking to the shaman. If you want to look, I can lend you my binoculars.
No thanks. My eyes are enough to see her without your gadget.
What kind of ceremony is this anyway? And how much longer will it take? If you hadn't come, I'd have fallen asleep by now.
I'm a Sami Sarkis, not a Sami Alafia. I don't know much more than you. As for how long it will take, that's hard to say. I've seen ceremonies that ended with just the shaman's nod, as well as gatherings that lasted all day and night. But forget the ceremony. Take a look at this. I found it in the forest.
Is this a snowball?
It's Emma's affection, Magdalene. This is Emma's affection.
Emma, that means mother, right?
Good memory. As a southerner might put it, this is a mother's love. It's the protection most sought after by the Sami. Among all of Sami's kindness, it's the purest and most sincere. Here, take it, Magdalene. Put it in your pocket.
Didn't you just say all the Sami want this? You found it, so you should keep it? I can't take it.
I know it's worth, but that's why I don't have the right to it. Emma doesn't like granting protection to greedy people. But you know nothing about her. Ignorance is also a kind of purity, and you have an honest soul. That's why you should have it.
Then, what should I do with it?
Forget about it, like you never received it in the first place.
Then I gotta give you something in return too. Hold on. Here you go, Leo Taifu.
What did you just call me? Never mind. So what is this?
A flare. Just twist open the lid and pull the string, and it'll let out a ton of light and noise. You're a hunter. I'm sure can think of a use.
That does sound pretty useful. I'll try it out next time. Huh? Magdalene, they stopped dancing. Aren't you taking notes? Quick!
Okay. Pulls out notebook after 40 straight minutes of independent carnival. The ceremony has moved on to its next phase. The shaman shows the tribesmen a wood carving. She says something impassioned. She raises her wooden staff, faces the clan tree, and sounds the horn. Then she starts murmuring something. There is another shaman assisting her by her side, like she is singing an accompaniment. Typhon, can you help me out and figure out what they're saying?
I can't understand it. The tone is familiar, but those are clearly not words you use in normal conversation.
Jots notes some sort of ritualistic language.
She's repeating a few short words over and over.
Repeating. Her emotions build up, and she keeps raising her voice. What's going on? Typhon? Where should we evacuate to?
Noga, look. The tree. In Sarkis, my god.
Huh?
The tree's roots begin to emerge as it gradually lifts off the ground. A thunderous sound rings through the forest and suppresses the shouts of everyone underneath. Surrounded by other trees, it slowly rises into the air as its roots ring together into a bundle and form an unprecedented human terms-bumble structure. Its leaves come falling down from the canopy, but the Sami are not shocked in the slightest. Instead, they appear very excited. Indeed, what could be more encouraging than your tribe's ancestral tree, lifting itself from the ground along with all the clan's history and memories?
In Sami, congratulations, attendant. The ritual was a success.
In Sami, I've always thought my ancestors' journey with the tree was a mere tale. In Sami, thank you, child of the Santala tree. Without your interpretation and assistance, this awakening ceremony would not have been successful. In Sami, the tree has awakened, but it still awaits a direction and its next steps from us. I must research our tribe register more.
In Sami, with the trees and Ormus' body out in the open, the disaster of the north is bound to notice it. In Sami, their activity has been growing more and more frequent of late. You must pray for Sami to protect the tree with you.
In Sami, yes. Yes, you are right.
In Sami, please make your way to the south with all haste and replant the tree. Do not let yourselves get caught up in them.
In Sami, understood. The register says.
In Sami, well then. My companions and I must take our leave. I pray that Sami will find you and your tribe a satisfactory destination, such that you need never relocate again.
In Samio, are you leaving so soon?
In Sami, you still have much to attend to. No need to see us off.
In Sami, then I wish you and your companions a safe and uneventful journey. Once again, I thank you kindly for your help, honored friend. Oh, I see. To make the tree set out, I must first.
In Sami, farewell.
Report.
Imitating the Ursus messenger's voice, I have entered Sami as planned. Please advise on the positions of Liebeful and the Black Mark. Over.
Simone.
Yeah, I'm back. Is there something I can help you with?
It's time to go.
I'm sorry that took so long.
It's okay. Let's go. Simone, you really need to explain to me what she said during the ritual. It's going to be real important to my research.
I'll tell you all about it on the way.
Sounds good.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I'll be done real quick.
Click. Before she leaves, Magdalene snaps a picture of the enormous tree standing in the forest. For some reason, she feels that this gigantic being almost completely blocking the sun looks kind of familiar. She doesn't think too much about it, and merely scribbles her immediate thoughts into her notebook. Then, she follows the rest of the group and continue their journey to southern Sami. Hiss. Huff.
Hiss.
You can take off the breather, Magdalene. There are no spores here.
Oh, okay. I've never been so scared of mushrooms in my life. I warned you. Maggie, don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. And don't touch anything. Now you know what? My mushroom. The empty box you gave me? I put the mushrooms inside and sealed it. Here. TH, thanks. I didn't expect the spore density to be so high, or that it could paralyze the respiratory system. It's a carnivorous mushroom. Where do you think its food comes from? So, how come you aren't affected at all? We hunters have ways to deal with them. If I died in one of those mushroom swamps, I'd never live it down.
Sami, Typhon, the sacrifice.
Sami sacrifice. Are we there? Takes a deep breath. You're right. Where are you going? Wait for me. And what do you by sacrifice? Me? Of course not. You bird brain. This is the heart of Sami, the first forest.
Where we come from, and where we go.
Prepare some food as tribute to Sami, and we can enter. Ooh, would bad things happen if we don't? Who knows? Do you want to find out? Never mind. Is hardtack okay? No idea.
Crush it and spread it on the ground.
All right.
Sami, great land, we ask your leave to pass over you. Sami, we offer you this sacrifice that you may watch over us and protect us from bloodshed, from being hunted.
Sami says it's okay, ladies. Sami, it will eat well thanks to your generosity.
Isn't that a little casual? Young Shema. Apprentice Shema.
This isn't really a formal occasion after all. Sami wouldn't mind the presence of a child at the Santala tree. A shaman, a hunter, and an outlander. That's a rare sight. I don't suppose you're here just for the experience.
We're in a hurry to head south, and don't have time to go around the first land.
I see. My teacher often takes this shortcut too. Not this time, though. He left me here alone to experience the Samaville. I've been here for days, wandering the woods without a sliver of revelation to be found. You should know what I mean, child of the tree.
Please, call me Santala.
Very well, Santala. Can you tell me what our teachers expect us to bring back from here?
I do not know, Oak Child. I have only been here to witness. This is not where my trial was.
Is that so? What a shame.
We have a long road ahead of us. Let's hurry.
I'll come with you. I know the trees with the best shade, the cleanest streams, and the safest animal trails. I can be your guide. There's no one more qualified. Let me come with you, Santala. I'm so bored here, I could turn into a tree. What do you think, great shaman? And what about you, Hunter? Well, lender friend.
I guess I don't mind.
We're all agreed. Let's go then. Welcome to the first forest.
One more question, Oak Child.
What is?
What should we call you?
My Sammy name might be a little hard to remember. My teacher calls me Okuk, so you can too.
May I ask how you got that name?
Because he always grabs my horn and tries to drink from it when he's drunk.
Hey, are we being watched? Like, by a deity?
Big predators. One on the tree, one behind Simone in the bushes, and one behind that tree to the left.
Oh? Is that all? After all the weird stuff we've encountered, dealing with carnivorous wildlife seems almost quaint. Should I be ready for a fight then?
No need. They're not hungry enough to risk attacking. So stop worrying about their dinner and start worrying about ours.
Huh? Look out!
Need help?
No thanks, I'm done.
A tuskbeast lies prone on the ground, glaring at Typhon. A gaping wound stretches from its cheek all the way to its forehead.
Your meat tastes terrible anyway.
The tuskbeast does not seem willing to leave. It crouches down in the shadows, ready to attack again. Bang! A loud bang rings out in the air before it, sending it scampering into the distance and leaving behind only a scattered trail of blood.
Did you just shoot something with your finger, Typhon?
Yeah. For scaring away big eyes like these.
A roll of leaves.
You wrap up hair with leaves until it forms a ball.
Takes notes. Well, but how do you wrap hair with leaves?
Don't ask. I've tried to teach others, but no one's ever been able to learn it. Easy. It's just an unlucky hornbeast that got its neck bitten in half. Maybe by the one that attacked us, maybe by another.
Looks like our Outlander friend has grown accustomed to the ways of this land.
A few more weeks of this, and she'll be a fully fledged Sammy.
An Outlander who understands Sammy. How nice. I remember working as a guide for some Colombian tourists while on a pilgrimage. They started screaming when they saw some carnivores doing their carnivoring. Apparently, they thought it was too bloody and uncivilized. Not that I'd call myself civilized, but didn't they pay good money to come here and see the untamed wilderness? One of them even tried to stop the beasts, and nearly ended up as their next meal. Their clothes were dignified enough, but certainly not the people wearing them.
You have quite a mastery of Colombian.
Person not just Colombian. I just can't keep my mouth shut. Guess I'm a natural-born chatterbox. And I suppose my teacher was a weird old man for teaching me all that.
But can Sammy know? A bitch? Ah, yes, true.
The folks back home hate it when I just strike up a conversation with Southerners. One time, there was a regular Ursus caravan that passed through the tribal market, and...
When was the last time I returned? The breath of the wild continues to echo through this place. To them, a still watch over this forest. Something isn't right. The influence of Amma lingers. But it's not alone. The black mark of Ursus.
What is it, Simone?
Nothing. Has our guide found somewhere we can spend the night?
Yup, inside the tree up ahead. Cup says it's hollow with enough room for the four of us. I've never seen a hollow tree before.
Then now's your chance.
Wow, we could easily fit another person or two in here.
It's the largest treehouse around. Could hold close to a dozen.
Where's Typha?
The hunter. She went looking for muspiest fruits, Tasha's. She wanted something extra for dinner.
You should rest. I'll set up some protection.
Is that really necessary? The tree's already been blessed, and there are even tail musnums hanging off of it. She's so serious.
That's how Simone is. I'd have frozen to death 3, maybe 4 times by now, if she weren't here to help.
Simone. Santala. I think I've heard that name.
Is she someone famous in Sammy?
Oh, no, not at all. I must be remembering wrong.
I have a hard time keeping track of anything I haven't seen for myself on my pilgrimage. So maybe I'm mixing her up with someone else.
Opens notebook, You seem to know a lot, Cup. Mind if I ask a few questions?
Sure.
I picked up 2 pieces of bark from a tree, and they had symbols on them. I want to know what they mean.
It's a code that Sammy uses to communicate with us. They could be messages about the past, the future, or about nature. The same symbols can also mean very different things, depending on who is receiving them and when. May I have a look?
I have them right here.
This is the old tree's bark. Snow Priest. Delight. Looks like a message from a clan tree to its shaman. You can have them back.
What's the difference between a snow priest and shaman?
Think of a snow priest as the head shaman or a greater shaman. He may not be the oldest, but he's certainly the highest in status, the most powerful, and the local leader. Incidentally, my t-shirt is a snow priest.
Huh? You become one too?
Nah, it's such a pain taking care of the tribe and solving all their problems. Leave that to someone who wants the job.
So, are you a shaman now?
Which is why my teacher made me come here, to feel the Samavilla.
And have you felt it?
Nope. Leaves fall, rivers flow. It's all the same. I don't feel anything unusual. I have plenty of complaints for him the next time I see him.
You're back, Simone.
Let me have a look. Wow, you can really do that with ground frost. By the way, I heard that the one who serves the old tree can control the wind and snow, making them dance at her fingertips.
The old tree takes no servants, nor does it need one like me.
Well, if you don't want to talk, I'm not going to press the matter.
Old tree. Is there a difference between the clan trees?
There's only one tree that can be called Old and Sammy. It represents the past, and often appears with the heralds of the present and the future. The 3 are separate but one, transcending Sammy.
The past.
By your outfit, I thought you were an explorer.
I am.
You seem more like Kaisia. What's the word? A folklore.
As an explorer, it's always good to learn more about an unfamiliar place.
I'll bring you some Sammy books if we ever meet again, explorer.
That'd be great. On the other hand, there's only so much I can carry in extreme environments. Maybe the equivalent of 2 volumes of the Encyclopedia Column Vision. It's about this long, this wide, and this thick. Hardcover.
Yeah, not sure why you thought that'd help me at all. Just give me your luggage and let me feel the weight.
Oh, it's all bundled up to be carried on my back. 1 second. There, it's all on the ground.
Good. Looks like you can fit it.
Huh?
That's about the same weight as to Sammy books.
What sort of books?
Legends, tribal history, that sort of thing. But a full tribal history takes up enough wooden ablets to fill an entire treehouse, so I'll spare you that.
I thought the paper books I saw in the Cyclops' cave were Sammy books.
Maggie,
Oh, welcome back.
do you have any more of those flare sticks?
Yeah, what?
I tried one when I was picking the fruits, and it worked even better than the leaf ball.
You mean you ran into a Tuskies?
Why wouldn't I? I was walking alone in the forest and they're hungry. Anyway, do you have any?
Half a bundle. How many do you need?
Give me 2 for now. And here, fruit from a must-be stash. I've washed them with water.
Thanks.
Let's eat together and get to bed early. I don't want to wake up and find the door blocked by a bunch of hungry beasts.
I'll take the night watch.
You already stayed up the other night. It should be my turn.
It's safer here, and I won't be up all night. Consider it a chance for me to relax.
All right, if you say so. Whisper, be careful. There are demons in the forest.
I know.
Let's make a campfire, Simone.
Absolutely not. Do you want to draw the attention of every predator in the forest?
Huh? Then it...
Not much difference between a lamp and a fire, light-wise. If you can't sleep, then try this. A dreamcatcher. Helps you pass the night in peace, with no dreams of becoming prey.
Thank you. I'll be going to bed there. Good night.
As Okut promised, Magdalene was not troubled by nightmares that night. Instead, she dreamed another dream. In it, she is still in the forest at night. But she is not alone. She is a creature like Emperor. Beside her, a massive white hornbill slumbers in the dream of another. It was serene and beautiful. Magdalene could not help but reach out to caress it. But it is so dignified and solemn that her hand stops in midair. She decides to lay down next to it and dream together with it. A dream within a dream. In it, a dark shadow shambles towards the tree hole where the group is sleeping. Behind it is a trail of darkness and filth. Black snow falls from the sky, burning away Santala's frost and creating a gap. The shadow walks towards the gap, leaving its vile trail on the ground. Suddenly, a hornbill catches its attention. The hornbeast leaps and disappears. By the time the shadow turns around, the gap is filled with frost again. It gazes upon the frost and shambles towards where the hornbeast disappeared. The hornbeast is still by Magdalene when she wakes up, but its horn had begun to melt. Then its body, then the forest. Magdalene sits upon the snow, snowflakes falling on her beak. For some reason, she feels regret. She never sees the hornbeast's eyes until the dream vanishes.
You're up early today.
I just happened to wake up.
Perhaps that was not the entire story. Her sleeping bag is wet near the pocket. She remembers pulling the pocket's zipper shut before sleeping, but it is open now, as if something fell out. There was nothing missing though, except a little Sammy souvenir.
Typha,
What's the matter? Got on the wrong side of bed.
does Emma's affection disappear?
Mother has to take care of so many. She can't stay by your side forever. Did the affection I gave you melt?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe she took care of a big problem for us, without us even realizing.
If possible, I'd have liked to keep it with me.
Well, we can always find another. It's not that hard.
Oh, okay. That's the beast that attacked us the other day.
Hasn't been dead for long. Looks like it was rammed to death by a large herbivore.
Self-defense to avoid being eaten.
No. It came for revenge while the predator was weakened. Maybe it lost a friend or family when it was little, and sought vengeance once it grew up.
Animals seeking revenge.
The hunter kills its prey, and the offspring takes revenge. Humans do that, and so do animals. We're not as different from them as you, civilized folk, believe. But that aside, hunter, shaman, over here, we have a bigger problem.
Simone, this rock hurt.
Yes, a demon did this. Take the foal away, Oak Child. Don't let it lick the mother's blood.
Gotcha. Imitates a raccoon cry.
The foal hears the call and staggers away from its mother and towards Oka, sobbing cry.
It's scared. Don't worry, I'm here. Licks the baby raccoon's forehead.
Takes up her camera.
Clicked. Magdalene looks at the photo. With her own eyes, she can clearly see the rockhorn bleeding blood as black as ink. But the blood doesn't appear in the photo at all.
It wasn't caused directly by a demon, just a corrupted creature, some kind of beast. It won't be turned. Can you save it, Oak Child?
1 second. Watch over the baby for a bit, Magdalene. Imitates a raccoon cry.
Oka cleats the foal to Magdalene, then heads towards the injured rockhorn.
Help.
Magdalene stretches out her hand, and the foal happily rubs its head against her palm.
Low cry.
Pained cry.
Not good. We might have had a chance if we'd arrived earlier, but now, all we can do is ease its pain. Stand aside, Hunter. Don't let the fool see. Lunka?
Stifled moan.
No need to be afraid. It won't hurt. Wave staff. Sleep now. Roam free and dream. Over hills, over swamp. Puts down staff and takes out dagger. Rest in Amma's woods, for she watches over you. No more pain, no more suffering. With the souls of all life, pierces the rockhorn's throat with the dagger. Roam free on Sammy's back. Rest now, soul of the land. Ugh.
Hearing the call, the foal hurries to Okak's side.
Will cry. Hi. Pitch call. Fear not. Your mother is with you. With her blood. Her tears. Draws the bloody dagger across the mother rockhorn's eye. Her floor. Crisscrosses with the dagger, stopping at your
The foal lightly kicks Okak's knee with its hoof.
hoof. Draws a mark on the hoof with the dagger for. Go, friend. Your life has just begun.
The foal continues to circle Okak, seemingly seeing him as its new family.
Well, I suppose that works. Only until we take care of your mother, though.
The foal does not answer, only rubbing itself against Oka.
What's the plan?
This is more than an apprentice can handle. Sharp whistle. Screw training. That way we'll take you out of the forest towards a nearby Marshvik village. They'll give you a warm welcome. I'll stay here with the kid and stop the rockhorn's bleeding until my teacher arrives. I can't let it become food for scavengers.
Say hello to the canopy sage for me.
Oh, so you knew.
Tell him that this is connected to the Black Mark of Ursus.
Black Mark of Ursus. All right, I'll pass it on. Nothing good ever comes of Ursus being involved.
Do you have enough rations?
I'm not about to become the first apprentice shaman to starve to death in the forest.
Here, take this.
A flashlight. I can see well enough in the dark, but it might be useful to the old man. Thanks. Farewell, friends. May Sammy keep you safe.
Finally, out of the woods. Hey, I think I'm getting a signal.
The Marshvik trade with you guys a lot, so they've got some of your metal things set up.
Well, we'll cut you with the raccoon's carcass.
Cleanse the corrupted soil and blood, clean the wound, then leave it.
Shouldn't it be buried?
No point. Scavengers would just dig it out.
Is it the same with people?
More or less. Like Okak said, Here in Sammy, there's not much difference between humans and beasts. Hunt and be hunted. Eat and be eaten. The best we can do is show our prey a bit of kindness and make sure they're dead before we eat them. That's the law of nature, the will of the North, the Sammy villain. If you want to change that, there's only one way.
What's that?
Become Sammy itself. Become the Allfather. Of course, that's just a legend. No one's ever seen it happen.
Stop messing with me?
Checking status of Black Mark. Liebeful was about to trade with those upon one. Another carcass, another victim. The hunter steps over the hunted, with no intention to feed. This was not to satiate hunger, nor for revenge, but pure and simple killing. It is a hornbeast, a corrupted one, with an empty hole on its abdomen. But it is still alive. Its blood tears and saliva are all black as ink. The hunter roams the animal trail, looking for a new victim. There is a figure swaying at the same frequency, not far away. It is clearly human. Its unique and rhythmic breathing can be heard clearly, even without approaching. His. Ha! Ragan, how should we welcome you? From either the north or the south, you were always the least likely to return of those who left.
I know no one invited me, but I saw a vision in my crystal ball. A vision of my brother's death.
What a beautiful sculpture. Does the little guy in the nutshell really point the way? And this Originama crystal. What an unusual color. How do you keep the crystal stable while sculpting? No, wait. Isn't it dangerous to have a piece of Originama as a home decoration? Analysis on the Originama ice crystal I brought back last time isn't finished yet, but more importantly, it's so beautiful. Let's see. I think I have a few coins left from my last trip to Ursa's. Or do you only accept bartering, like the local Sammy? I can spare a can of seasoning to trade. But that would mean Simone and Typhon would have to eat bland Sammy food with me.
We're Sammy to begin with.
What do you actually want, girl? We'll be on our way if you have nothing to trade.
Oh, sorry. Was I too loud? I didn't think the Ursus caravans would come all the way up here, bringing so much stuff I've never seen. What did you say you needed, Simone? Simone?
You really didn't hear, did you?
What?
Someone recognized her and asked for her help. Some bodies have been brought back to the tribe, but they don't have a snow priest, so they asked Simone to check them instead.
Oh, so people die? No wonder the market's been so quiet. No one seemed interested in talking. Everybody looked so depressed. They didn't put up much for sale either. Let's wait for Simone then. She insisted on coming to the market, so she can decide. Is that okay, my friends from Ursus?
O water that flows across the land of Sammy, allow me to speak to your children. Low humming.
Wait, from the lowest branch of the old tree, to the torch in front of Grandma Valley's door. O great merciful fate, it is ascended. Go ahead, daughter of the Santala tree. Here are their belongings.
I am grateful to earn the trust of a root of frost maple. There is red frost on the weapons. They were in battle. Are these warriors from the northern front?
Yes. They left the tribe for the northern lands 7 or 8 years ago. Who could have guessed that the 2 tribesmen who'd left home the longest, who were the least willing to look back, would come home on the same day?
Are you referring to the dead?
A brother and sister who had parted ways. Fate has also brought you here today. Perhaps you should hear the story. You must remember the great snowfall that covered half of Mirkwood.
Of course.
Our clan was affected too. Like the other clans trapped in the blizzard. We prayed for Sammy's wisdom, and braved the wind, and snow to seek messages atop trees, all to learn how we might protect ourselves. But we did not have a snow priest. We prayed and prayed, but received nothing but silence. There was no guidance from fate, and our shamans could not determine whether to stay or not, or if we left, to where. That was when those 2 siblings stepped forward to lead, but their thoughts took them in opposite directions. The older brother answered Eichthriner's call and brought his band to the northern front, to stop the snowfall for the rest of the tribe and spare them the need to leave.
I see. Accepting guidance from a snow priest outside the tribe in desperate circumstances.
Meanwhile, the younger sister felt that we could not afford to wait for the snowfall to end. Using her arts to foresee danger, she led the rest of the tribe southwards, eventually settling here.
It couldn't have been an easy journey for either of them.
So we can understand why they hated each other enough to never look back. My sister and I butted heads for months after I broke one of her horn ornaments. What is a mere 7 or 8 years to their differences? The blessed words carved into the side of his drum are all faded now. I would have redone them for him, if he'd come back even once over the last few years.
This drum, there's no blood on it at all. But the shaman who owned it was clearly badly wounded. I suspect he didn't have his weapon when he was injured. There's half a bottle of vodka in his fur coat. The bitter brew that the Ursus squeezed from steel. Did they drink with the Ursus by the fireside? Who brought back these warriors' bodies?
An Ursus caravan. What? Checking status of Black Mark. Liebefo is about to trade with those upon water.
Are they still here?
They usually don't stay for long. The path ahead is treacherous when the sun has set.
Thank you. I must find them and ask some questions.
Wait. Will you come back, Santala? We're a withering clan. We could use all the help we can get. This ceremony means much to us. It's not just a send-off for the dead, but also a chance for the living to bid farewell to their homeland. The more learned shamans there are, the better protected our people will be.
Clan migration. Nearly 100 years later. Does the Samavillain once again guide you on a great migration to the south?
Yes. This time, the Samavillain gazes upon us. We can recognize the signs. Newborns crying all night. Dead beasts by pounds.
Signs of fear. Has demonic corruption spread all the way from the Icefield to the southern wetlands? Or could the black mark that Ursus placed on Sammy be? I have an inkling of the signs you speak of. I promise I'll be back for the ceremony. But I have other matters to attend to for now. The spirits of the dead are watching. The living must bring them peace.
Is it really that bad when you don't have a snow priest? Is that enough of a reason for things to be going badly for the tribe?
Yeah.
Takes note snow priests protect their tribe through soothsaying. Tribes without a snow priest may be unable to detect impending catastrophes. So a snow priest has to study like a catastrophe messenger then.
You don't become a snow priest just by studying. I've seen snow priests in training in the Tunris, on the brink of death as they go through their trials. Other tribes wait for a revelation from Sammy. Those who become snow priests receive miraculous instructions. Anyway, you should talk to Simone about it. All I'm telling you is to stop asking around the market. This tribe is like a sick hornbeast. It's going to get irritated if you keep poking at it and telling it to get up.
Sorry.
Also, this bracelet you picked isn't just ugly, it's bothersome too.
That was just an excuse to get you to come to the market with me.
You're almost fully Sammy by now. You don't need me to accompany you in the south, where metal things are plentiful.
Still, I feel better with you around. I'm not sure why, but I'm getting a bad feeling.
Do your bad feelings have a habit of coming true?
Not really. I hardly ever get them in the first place.
Tell me more. Did it feel like a mangler shadow, or a crack on a great tree?
No, it's not like that. Wait, a mangler? There are manglers here. Will you take care of it if we run into one?
I'll teach you to protect yourself again before we go. What I'm asking is, what form does your bad feeling take?
To me at least, you call it a bad feeling precisely because it's vague and ambiguous. It's like I felt something come close, but failed to notice it. Or like there's something huge just beneath the layer of snow, but I walked right over it. Which Professor Mary says I do a lot, come to think of it. Chew. Hey, it's snowing harder. Oh, there you are, Simone.
Have you seen an Ursus caravan?
Yeah, they gave me an empty flagon while saying stuff like His Majesty. And the Border Patrol won't like it. Here, I was waiting for you to get back to see if you needed to trade with them for anything, but they were in a hurry.
So you let them leave?
They went that way. You should be able to catch up. You're angry, Simone. What happened?
Sorry. I was just thinking about how to return the favor for their gift. Magellan, Typhon. The two of you head towards Capet with the rest of the tribe. And be careful along the way. If there's a problem, don't try to deal with it, just run. Your lives come first.
Same to you, Simone.
You needn't worry about me. I'll catch up with you soon. I promise to attend the funeral of these warriors.
What are you thinking, Maggie?
That's weird. I was going to ask Simone what the Sammy writing on this flagon means. But I got distracted for some reason. Well, I'll just put it away for now.
They came back, right? Your predictions are always so accurate. Tila came back empty-handed. She's the best hunter in the tribe. And my youngest son found a bracelet that had been lost for years. As you said, fortune lies in deep water. Dark death has befallen our warriors. Therefore, I must ask you, why did you do it? Why did you lead us in the opposite direction when your scrying pointed towards the north?
Sorry. I only came back to see my family. If there are no other funeral arrangements, I'll take my leave.
Right. Let her go. She is no longer connected to the land of Sammy. We need not reproach the poor soul.
How was it, Gitano? They still don't like you.
I predicted as much.
Well, at least you ran into an old friend on the way. That's pretty lucky too. I can still hardly believe it. I thought I was hallucinating again when I saw you. Oh, sorry. I heard someone die.
It's okay. I came back because I divined my brother's death. We'd been out of touch for a long time. We had our differences.
But the shamans aren't preparing for a funeral. Don't they have the most important role?
Your friend is sharp, Magdalene.
It's hardly a secret. People aren't normally so sad just to say goodbye to the dead. Only when they never get a chance to.
You're right. 7 years have passed. I thought new branches would grow from the trees, and that the people would be able to live in peace on this land. But all I see is my kinsmen suffering from increasingly frequent disasters, and even being forced to move again. Meanwhile, the shamans argue over whether to hold a traditional funeral.
What use is a goodbye if you don't say anything? In the end, everything flies away like a falbust, never to be seen again. By that point, it doesn't matter if you were the one to raise your voice and startle them.
I never agreed to not hold a funeral. Please don't bring that up again. They were fortunate to return home. How could we leave them to the long, cold nights, trapped by their mortal bodies? This place will soon stop being our home, which is exactly why they need the boat, sinking ceremony, so that the river may carry them home. Disaster lies before us. I know, and they are part of it. The Rockhernd runs for its life, day and night, until it finally dies of exhaustion. It is a sign. On the northern front, we will blow the horn and stand watch at night. They are all warriors. A warrior does not die in peace. Wasn't that just a rumor? Fighting on the northern Icefields did not darken your fate. Instead, you received Sammy's revelation and blessing. Yet now you want them to stand vigil over their own bodies, until they rot and decay. Among them lies your favorite student. Even now he is listening to your cold words. Then let him listen. He is a strong warrior. He will understand.
You're right. Why don't we ask the dead themselves?
It would seem living among the Outlanders has given you blind courage. But you know that we have long lacked a snow priest. No one in the clan has heard the call since Grandma Valley's passing. Or do you propose that we break from tradition and imitate those tribes that set trials for their snow priests, rather than wait for the call?
I can't try to divine their will.
Right.
Yes, I'm asking you to entrust it to fate. I won't take any questions. Just think of me as someone who goes back on her word.
Then I won't stop you from trying. Very well. If the clan re-raises its branches and lets you sail through, I won't stop you. We await the answer of the dead.
Weren't you going to cap it? I thought you Southerners were always in such a hurry. Like when your tourists come to visit. There. Our vehicles just drop them off somewhere empty. They all stand around a while. And then the vehicle takes them away again.
But my best bet for now is to gather as much information about Sammy as possible, to make things smoother for the rescue team. Plus, I want to spend more time with Gitano. At Rhodes Island, they always say that nothing can rattle her except losing at cards. So I never thought I'd see her looking so gloomy. What about you, Typhon? Isn't your client down south in Kappa getting impatient?
No idea.
Huh?
I don't actually know who the client waiting for me there is, or what they want me to do. Probably another one who wants me to help deal with the problem quietly. You can tag along next time. It's amazing what they'll do to keep things secret. Like, leaving a message on a wooden board in a hole in a tree. When it was just about removing a dead hornbeast, the shadow was no longer near the beast. But that just makes them even more scared. So they look to me to take care of it.
Sounds like people trust you a lot. So, do they really keep their distance from you just because they think your bow brings bad luck? Isn't that just like oripathy?
Oripathy? Of course not. It's nothing like that. Do you no longer respect Simone because she has oripathy? But me. I'm not sure I fully tamed the spell, to be honest.
But you're the one holding it. If it's not working right, wouldn't that be like when my drones malfunction? You can feel when something's wrong, right?
Of course I can keep an eye on it, when I'm awake. But what about when I'm dreaming, and my consciousness leaves my body? Do you Southerners have a saying like this? The more people speak of doom, the clearer it casts its shadow. You know? Alright? When I lived in Arch's cave, no one knew of me or my weapon. But things are different now. The more I help chase the shadows out of Sammy, the more people begin to talk about me. So who can say when misfortune will suddenly catch up with me?
I'm sure your bow will be fine. We've journeyed all this way together with no problems, haven't we? Although I guess the plural of anecdote isn't data. Oh, what if you let my colleagues in engineering analyze it? Maybe they could come up with an explanation I can actually understand. And they might be able to help you. For example, knows a lot about dealing with dangerous objects. And we're super close, so I'm sure she wouldn't mind me filling her lab with potentially risky weapons. But research can take a long time, huh? I can't exactly take your weapon from you for years.
Thank you. You're a hard worker. But I told you not to touch my bow. This is for me to deal with, and only me. That's what Arj said. What are you doing, Magdalene?
Huh?
Little.
Magdalene lets go without even thinking about it. The splash brings her back to her senses, and she stares at the ripple on the surface of the water.
Whoa, what did I just throw in there?
The flagon the Ursus trader gave you. You were scooping up muddy water from the marsh with it. I taught you to filter mud and sand with clothes, but I don't think you forgot. You didn't look right.
Oh, you're right. I somehow got distracted again. I need to get it back. It was a gift.
You don't dare reach out, do you?
Yeah?
Give me your hand.
You know a way to deal with this situation. Phew. I feel calmer now. Let just divine around my finger. Oh, you have one around yours too.
Yeah, but you shouldn't try to get it back. Remember what Simone said? Be careful.
Alright.
Strange. That was a defense meant specifically for demons. Could Simone's warning have meant?
The dead have answered. Most want to be buried. One remains silent.
Silence means there is no objection, at least. We must respect the wishes of the dead. Very well. We'll hold a funeral as usual.
Be careful when you get on the boat, Magdalene.
Thanks.
This is how the wetland tribes do it. The boats are launched once night falls. The river carries them to their final resting place, where they will sink into the water along with the boats. Only then can the dead be freed from the shackles of the flesh to walk free amongst the trees and travel with the flowing water to find their blood one. However, this funeral is also a farewell to our homeland, which is why we will also bring our belongings and travel along with the dead. These boats will carry the dead home, and the living away from it.
Can Typhon and I come with you? We're not part of your family or tribe or anything.
Of course you can. In fact, I'd appreciate it if you did. I've long known that I'm just a lone wanderer far from Sammy. Still, it's painful to have to ride in a boat by myself while saying goodbye to my last bloodkin. At least being able to hold a funeral will comfort the tribe, both the living and the dead. What is it, Typhon? Need a hand?
It's just that your hand is so cold, Gitano. Like you've been standing in the freezing wind for a long time, and the best you could do was rub your hands together. There's something I've been meaning to ask you. What did the dead tell you? Or rather, what was the silence? In your divination.
The horn has been blown. Don't look back. Fate has instructed us to move forward. What was left behind will eventually return to us. There is no more talk. The shaman's song can be heard from the head of the fleet. The dead follow their ancestors, as their names are read one by one. A breeze rings a string of bells on the boat carrying the bodies. The ceremony has begun. The fleet will not turn back.
I'm sorry.
The fourth time, I still saw the ceremony. The fifth time, I asked, Lazel.
Lazel, there's something I want to tell you. Maybe it's something I wanted to hear you tell me. The road away from that blizzard was long. The river never thawed. I lived away from Sammy, sailing with a boat of iron. It was so firm and steady that I couldn't help but dream back to how our clansmen dragged their boats across the river. Many lost the strength to pull their boats. Some lost the strength to pull even themselves forward. Too much was lost on that path. I dared not turn back. But, in the end, that's all there is to it. I dared not turn back. We made opposing decisions and even took up arms against one another. But the reason I never came back wasn't because I resented you. But perhaps none of that's important to a warrior stationed in the north. The leaves in the urn are almost burnt up. So please, tell me. Darkness, fog, darkness, an empty crystal ball. Why do I see nothing?
The snow's getting heavier. Come on, take us wait. Ha! I still regret giving that Sammy flagon over to that girl. Forget it. You'd be in serious trouble if the border guards found it. Besides, Do you really believe that a few words inscribed on his drum and flagon are enough to keep someone safe? In this land of ice and snow, the only thing that can protect us is vodka. Well, now it's just vodka. Anyway, that's not what I meant. The night before the incident, we were all still sitting together and chatting. Yeah, I remember. The two of you had little sisters who are about the same age, and he never got a chance to make up with her. So just think of it as me feeling sorry for him. I know what it's like. People who've been fighting for so long have so much blood on their hands that they can never go home. But in the end, even after telling us all those stories about his family squabbles, he never told us who they were fighting. They gave their lives to save us, but we never even found out what happened. I should have kept his flagon. Honestly, I don't know how else to honor the memory of these mysterious Sami, other than with something I can touch. Maybe I'm just being too sentimental over a bunch of Sami savages. Do you still remember what they said when we were chatting that night? That the Sami don't believe that death is the end. Like, say you think it's a completely windless night, but something still gets blown over. They call it the souls of the dead passing by. Not stupid, if you ask me. Which? Me. Or the Sami superstition? Both. Alright. Time to call the others and get ready to do some business. The next tribe shouldn't be too far from here. I saw someone in the snow.
Sami bestowed upon us snow and ice to cleanse us anew. Sami bestowed upon us mud and soil to inherit blessings. We wish not to leave, yet nevertheless travel down the streams of departure. May our loved ones return home, like drops of water returning to the river. May disaster be kept far away, in the lands you cannot protect.
The Sami Alefias lower their lanterns, bend down to scoop up handfuls of water, and sing along with the shaman in low voices. As the ship of the dead slowly sinks, one by one, the oil candles are extinguished. Darkness gradually spreads across the water.
Even if you aren't a member of our tribe, you should still show some basic respect for our ceremonies. Put down your weapon. Hunter with the black bow. Lower your head.
Whispers look at that hunter over there. You've seen people like her in the northern Icefield, right? Do you think she'll darken our fates?
The more people speak of doom, the clearer it casts its shadow, so I will not speak of it. Someone else will. Eggthreener will. But we are absolutely not among those who have the power to speak freely in this land. This is your final warning, Hunt, or else we will be forced to take up arms.
Wait, hold on. She's just standing guard. Hey, can't you explain? I'm sure they'll understand.
I feel it moving. Out of the way now. Everyone, leave this place.
Half an hour ago.
We're almost there.
Phew. Finally, some good news. Didn't you say you've been away from the tribe ever since they moved? Then how do you know where the burial site is?
Look at the wooden fencing over there. It's a warning. In the wetlands, the waters where a tribe buries their dead are usually off limits. The fencing serves not only to warn those who are awake, but more importantly, to remind those who are sleeping. Because everyone meets their departed friends and relatives in their dreams. If they aren't careful, it's very easy to wander into these places.
I see. Fascinating. I'll have to note this one down too. Takes notes, be careful when dreaming. Whispers, does that mean I'll get in trouble again if I want to do some research on these waters?
What do you have in mind?
It's this here a beacon. I want to set it up underwater so I can collect some data.
You said before that this thing can track a location. Okay, give it to me. Titano, can we stop right before that fencing? I'm also getting the sense that something isn't quite right.
Go ahead. Don't worry. I already foresaw your safety before we left at dusk.
Huh? Did I ever ask you to read my fortune? All I remember is eating way too much for lunch and ending up in a food coma right up until we boarded the ship.
Nobody forced you to eat all that in one go. There were narcopedic mushrooms in the soup. We often add a few when people are feeling anxious or uneasy.
It sure was tasty. Anyway, thanks, Kitano.
But it's true that we never asked her for anything. Not that it matters. So how do we set up this beacon?
Just toss it into the water, and it'll handle the rest automatically.
With how much force?
No force. Just let go of it and have it sync on its own. Well, the beacon's up and running, and the signal looks solid. It has an effective range of about 3,000 meters, so we can keep moving here, rowing the boat forward.
Alright. Now, how am I supposed to make sense of this? Gibberish. I'd also like to keep track of the beacon.
Oh, that's real easy. Way simpler to understand than all this Sammy stuff. Look over here. We have the most basic data relative coordinates of the beacon's location, water depth, flow speed. Oh, but I'm sure you can figure all that out on your own just from experience.
In other words, it's continuously moving around underwater.
It's probably just oscillating back and forth due to undulations in the water flow. These devices have extremely precise positioning. Specimen sampling comes next. My drones are a bit noisy when I put them to work, so I prefer to use this compact beacon to do the preliminary water quality sampling and analysis first. While it's made for scientific investigation, its analysis is based mostly on the water's potability. But in areas not many people visit, even this simple analysis can sometimes produce anomalous results. Take a look, huh?
The signal disappeared.
Think it might have gotten swallowed up by a huge colossus. Though we did take that sort of thing into consideration when we designed the beacon. No ordinary wild beast should be able to damage its outer covering.
Kitano,
Alright, got it.
I'll handle the ship for you.
Wait a sec, are you going to do another divination?
Yeah,
How many times have you used your Original arts between yesterday and today?
not enough to worry about. Just think of it as me double-checking my work.
Tugs on Magdalene's hand. Leave her alone.
Sign. The first time I met Gitano was when I was visiting Iffy at the Rhodes Island Medical Department. At the time, she was in a coma in a hospital bed and was carted in by the other field operators. They all said her arts take a heavy toll on her body.
Even more reason to leave her alone then. She sensed something, which is why she's trying to read your fortune before you leave. And I agree with her. I felt a lingering shadow here this whole time. I don't know exactly what she's trying to double-check, but there's no point in trying to avoid an omen of calamity. I just hope she finds whatever is giving her these strange premonitions. What's up?
The boat tilts sharply to one side, and Typhon pulls Magdalene in close just in time to stabilize the ship. Gitano falls heavily onto the deck, and an intense burst of arts flashes through her crystal ball.
Gitano?
I'm sorry. I'm not the same self-defeating, self-destructive person I was years ago. This is just me trying my best.
Well, as long as you're okay, let me help you out.
However, try as I might, I couldn't find anything.
What did you see in your divination?
Fate. The fates of the deceased. But my divination has little in common with Sammy's prophecies. It's merely a special kind of arts. It cannot touch those who have passed. Their fates are pitch black, nothing more.
Is that the same for everyone?
No, there's one who hasn't responded to me.
Gitano holds up her crystal ball. There is nothing inside it save for the candlelight reflected from the fleet ahead.
He remains silent.
That is no fault of the diviners. We need to hurry and make our way to the front of the fleet. If I'm forced to draw my bow, the boat's going to rock a whole lot, and you two will need to keep it steady.
W8 back up? What's going on?
The marsh is trying to drag us under. None are safe, living or dead.
What?
We don't know a thing. We really don't, so spare us, please. The only one who does is that Liberi who went to Capit alone. He's the one you're looking for. Those Sammy died to save us, but we didn't know what else to do for them, except take their remains back to their hometown.
No, that's not what I'm asking. When you took the bodies away, someone was bleeding black blood. Did you witness this yourself?
Yes, I saw it with my own eyes.
How could I make such a terrible mistake?
The ship of the dead. What are you doing?
Using the waves to keep it from sinking any further.
You...
Turn the boat around. This funeral can no longer continue. I will protect you from the rear.
Let's go.
You? Are you sympathizing with the outsider too?
Or maybe she's finally lost her mind to the Black Bow. Either way, she poses just as much danger. Warriors, protect the fleet from front to back. Stay vigilant. Don't panic. Trust that Sammy will protect our inner peace. Trust that calamity will never take it from us.
The same goes for you two, Magdalene and Gitano. Hurry up.
Wait, Typhon. I'd like an explanation. I need an answer. Is it the same as what I saw?
Too many soldiers from the north are buried here. Their contamination has accumulated, day by day, until it all melded together. And this time, the disaster might have taken some of the dead.
I understand.
My arts are supporting the ship of the dead, preventing it from sinking. But that doesn't solve the issue. So don't look back.
Anything we can do to help? My drone has a combat module. If there's going to be fighting, I can help out.
The dark swamp surges up, and the disaster merges into solid entities that leap towards Typhon from the black waves. For over a decade, she has seen the same dream again and again. A pitch-black dream. The Sami say that while asleep, people can free themselves from the shackles of their corporeal forms and meet both the living and the dead. Typhon has always known that if she could strip away the darkness covering her eyes, she could turn back and take one last look at her mother and father. Yet, she has never seen anything, because a hunter only keeps her eyes on her prey.
Don't look back. That's all. Stay behind them and keep rowing the ship. I'll handle the rest.
Her bowstring is fully drawn. Ancient arts converge into a single shaft. She takes aim. The threats on the Icefield are numerous. Extreme cold, waves of snow, ferocious beasts, demons, and, in the stories of certain tribes, herself. Typhon takes this for granted. She carries a contaminated black bough on her back. She was engulfed by the shadows and escaped from them. In the eyes of others, she walks closest to disaster, naturally. Then, she should be the one to stand between those people and disaster.
Looks like I got the drop on you again. Now, depart from the lands of Sami. I'll pin you down.
The hunter raises her voice as if shouting into the empty marsh. The bowstring vibrates, and the arrow hurtles towards the water's depths.
Oh, wow. The boat's racking like crazy. What just happened? Did something fall into the water? Whoa, it got cold all of a sudden.
The hunter's cry receives an answer from the water's surface. It is a soft murmur in the Sami tongue. Water wither, hard ice becomes. From the water's depths, it spreads out with the ripples of the falling arrow. In the blink of an eye, the swamp is engulfed in freezing cold. All is calm, save for the constant crashing sounds from beneath the ice.
Thank goodness I made it in time.
Thanks, Simone.
Did you hear my footsteps?
Wherever you go, the snow follows. The wind told me this. Also, you said you'd attend the funeral.
You guys really do trust me.
Naturally, I have a good eye, both for the weather and for people.
Simone's here. We're saved. Looks like everything's quieting down. Does that mean our predicament is resolved?
Not yet. No. What are they? What are those things?
I told you not to look back. They are shadows left behind by contaminated corpses.
No. Don't come any closer. Those warriors buried beneath the water. Aren't they supposed to be sealed under the ice? Shouldn't they be resting in peace? Why hasn't it calmed down yet?
Close your eyes. Magdalene, hold your hand. Give her a touch of reality. Just like you always do. Then, steer the ship away.
Okay. Do you feel any better now?
She's calming down. Just like that, Gitano. Listen to me. It's normal to feel fear. But if you continue like this, you will be transformed too. We can seal the bodies, but we cannot seal the shadows that seep from them. So don't blame yourself, and don't force yourself to see things through to the end. Your brother isn't at fault for this disaster, and you certainly aren't either. The disaster simply found us, or perhaps we found it, which is why it awakened.
Their ships can't move very quickly. How much time do we have, Simone?
Traces of contamination are still all around us. I have no way to tell. Right, so this is why Sami warned the Frost Maple tribe that they had to move away.
I can already feel their presence becoming more and more clear. Sounds are vanishing, colors are disappearing, and bodies are melting. But don't worry. It won't affect my aim.
I've always meant to ask, are you not afraid?
Afraid? Of what? This way. Good. That's it, Simone. Direct your arts where my arrows fly. I've pinned down one corner of the shadows. The black blood is oozing out slower. My next arrow will be marked with fluorescent fletchings for you.
Chant softly. Nightmare that terrorizes innocent children. Be gone.
Correct. The ice beneath her feet splits bit by bit, yet the shadow before her eyes shows no signs of retreat. Arrow and Art sink deep into the darkness, the blackness flowing like ink through their consciousness and into reality.
You really don't show any fear at all. Are you not afraid of the demons? You're not afraid that you'll fail, only to regret it forever.
Correct. Correct. The energy from the origin Yama arts seems to pour endlessly into the abyss. Santala tries to repair the ice, but naturally, it does not respond to her.
Don't go any further, Simone. It's too dangerous.
I know. Only I am at fault. And the responsibility is mine.
Huh?
A premonition. A moment of inspiration. A chill rises from deep within her bones, like a gust of wind from a place where no wind blows. For some inexplicable reason, Magdalene has the urge to turn around. She wants to see Simone and Typhon's enemies, to check if they are all right. But all she sees is darkness, an endless darkness. She remembers the stories she has heard. Someone was seriously injured in a fierce battle and fell into a deep coma with a high fever. He dreamt he was hanging from a tree, facing off against a pitch-black beast so massive he could not see the whole thing. A branch pierced the top of his head, and the blood flowing down over his body froze into a sculpture of crimson ice. But the warrior neither moved nor blinked. 10 days and nights later, the fierce beast retreated, and he awoke from his fever only to find himself lying in the snow, and the wound atop his head fused with a tree branch. All Sami know this legend, and whenever they speak of experiencing Sami's calling, they will surely bring up this story. The endless darkness is suddenly torn to shreds by brambles. Black waves surge from between the cracks of the fractured ice, and the corpses that had begun to melt together reach towards the land with countless hands, but dissolve before they can stain the snow. Purifying arts penetrate the fog and shadow, and an entire army of northern warriors emerge from beyond the fencing. They stand in formation, waiting with weapons in hand. Only one of them crosses the fence to approach. Brambles spread in the direction his warhammer points Rogwa ship, twisting, and forming a ring that isolates the evil spirits. He extends his weapon and the arts of his soldiers follow. With no hesitation, no fear of being contaminated, he strides towards the dead, transformed warriors whose faces are no longer distinguishable, and raises his warhammer high. In a single blow, names both spoken and forgotten are dissipated all at once. The bright moonlight reflects across the forest's fresh snow. Those are Triska warriors. Eggthriner has come. Thank you. You saved our lives. We didn't expect warriors of the north to come so far south, especially not so close to the Colombians. Eggthriner came here to rescue the Sami who had moved south. He just happened to arrive sooner because he received a request for help. I thought that rumor was false. Unfortunately, all the rumors about him are true.
Only a few tribes lack snow priests. So you may recall that it has been more than a decade since anyone in our tribe has been touched by Sami's calling. When I first returned to my tribe from the north, it was precisely because we were unable to actively predict catastrophes or anticipate the disaster. Facing crises from every direction, we had no choice but to retain more soldiers. Now, even survival is difficult for us. Continuing to head south, perhaps even leaving Sami lands, is but a desperate measure. Eggthriner, it is not for a lack of love for this land that we leave, but rather a matter of necessity.
You harbor resentment in your heart.
How could I ever resent the very Sami that has given us everything?
You cannot change my mind. We cannot back down. You have already experienced the demon's depredations of nature. Living and dead alike are seized all the same. Fate has thrust them upon the Sami, and we must face them and endure.
You said the same during the snowstorm back then. Do not move. We will stop the snowstorm and block the disaster north of the Chalvetra.
After the November hunt, the snowstorm did indeed stop. The line of blacks never crossed the other side of the mountain. Then you understand why. There is no need for any Samadad to flee. You merely speak for your tribe, as well as all those who are anxious because they cannot receive Sami's revelation. But what we advocate for is sweeping away that layer of fog completely.
No, Eggthriner. What you're doing flies in the face of everything we've experienced in Sami, passed down from generation to generation. We all know why only the most elite warriors travel to the northern lands. When we become aware of the demon's traces, we become conduits for them. We fear, and as such our weak hearts become their seedbeds. The more who are aware of this evil, the harder the next battle becomes.
Nobody is above fear, but anyone can conquer it.
That takes thousands of battles.
Indeed, it takes thousands of battles. The mountains will once again become an indomitable line of defense, just as they were many years ago, before fear penetrated the hearts of the Sami. We will never leave, and the Sami will never die out. No matter how many generations we must stand guard, it will be the disaster itself that dies first.
Woohoo! I got a pick.
What makes him photo worthy?
He's the most authoritative warrior of the North, in the hearts of the Sami. That'll be very important to know on future research expeditions. Besides, what he just said to the other Sami should be recorded. What the Silent Mountain warriors know about the Icefield, as well as how they combat the disaster, are all valuable data. And what was that word they used for the disaster? And skull?
And Scottertini. It means enemy.
I feel like I've heard it before somewhere. Let me write it down for now. So basically, for the Sami, only the disasters from the Icefield are considered enemies? If only we just could listen in. I wouldn't have to go through all this trouble of sending in a drone up close. Luckily, you taught me some tricks about camouflaging yourself so you don't alert your prey. Oops, it got shut down. Once we get to Capit, I can probably find a colleague from Rhine Lab to fix it.
Consider yourself lucky then.
You're clearly fighting against the same thing, but they treat you like an outsider just because of your weapon.
Blackbow aside, it's probably because of Argis. A lot of people see her as a madwoman, as they're quite familiar with the Cyclopes who live in seclusion in the Chal Veteran. They believe that, as a Cyclops, she should never have walked out of that cave. Should never have made contact with so many people. In Sami, one who foresees fate will easily twist the fates of others.
This is fate. Ack.
In their eyes, I am someone who's had her fate twisted. Like branches that have been artificially grafted together. Trees like that will not grow properly.
But you seem perfectly fine to me.
I think so too.
Simone?
Please, let me check if you two are okay.
This bird brain over here seems fine enough. She just won't stop bouncing around. Do you disagree? You act as if nothing happened.
Well, I guess that's true.
All right, Simone.
What is it?
I didn't have time to answer your question earlier. I'll do it now. But when I'm on the hunt, I have other things to think about. Where to aim. The speed of the wind. Deciding where my prey will be. When my head is full of these thoughts, I have no time to be scared. I know that I must overcome again and again. My resolve will never be shaken. But just now, when the ice shattered, if I'd been the one to fall through, then that too would be fate's plan.
So are you able to calmly confront the torments of fate? Because Argis shared her visions with you?
No, she's never spoken of them.
That makes me feel better then. The tragic prophecies of a Cyclops should not befall a child like you. Where's Gitano?
She left by herself. I don't know where she plans to go, but she said she'll send word to Rhodes Island once she's made up her mind.
How unfortunate. There was something I wanted to tell her earlier, but she should already understand by now.
All right. Even though I don't know exactly what's going on, I need to thank you all for resolving the crisis. Itano too.
Wait, what did she do? She was already exhausted by her arts. And given the terror caused by the disaster, she wouldn't have been able to do anything rash.
Oh, she sent a request for help to the nearby tribes yesterday. Just earlier, she told me something in secret. That she felt a vague sense of worry and guilt, so she wanted to ask for help. Hello there, Mr. Snow Priest. Thank you, and the other Treescar warriors for helping us today. You're all lifesavers.
Child of the Suntala tree, daughter born of the biting cold.
Please do not call me that.
You went after the Ursus.
So you can see everything.
How did it go? You once hesitated because you longed for the shade beneath the ancient branches, and failed to become a snow priest. If you still wish to live as the old tree's steward, then I have no further questions for you.
My time is limited because of oropathy.
That is no reason for you to lose sight of your goals. You understand this well, daughter of the Suntala tree. You understand the futility of revenge better than anyone else. It is precisely because of that futility that it becomes a never-ending task, one that requires a constant search for new lives to fulfill it.
I am just an outcast, hardly worthy of your attention.
No one has forgotten the young shaman who was born to command the wind and snow.
Then I'm sure you're quite disappointed now that you've met her in person. Hatred and stonolite took root within this body. She was robbed of an eye, and naturally became blind.
She is a warrior, just as in the legends of the past. Boda and Arsa. The will of the All-Father has warned us. All that you see serves as a warning. The mountains raised by Sammy are not enough to protect us from the disaster. Our sole enemy encroaches on our land. Even so, will you continue to wander the Icefield, aimlessly seeking vengeance?
Sorry. I need to go to Capit with my companions. Nobody's left. One more snowstorm and these fragile houses will disappear. I only had time to see the ruined end. Is this fate showing mercy or cruelty? Brother, I now know what you saw when you turned back.
The wandering Aletheia sits at the water's edge. She leans down, wanting to cup the water to her face to wash away the dirty melted snow. When she approaches the surface, shadows block the shimmering light, and she suddenly sees a wine flagon at the bottom of the water. She recognizes the aged flagon as well as the prayer inscribed on it. Bestow upon the Mirkwood sacred purity. O travelers, retrieve your innocent sight, those eyes that discern fate. Bestow upon my home a lasting tranquility, my people. The dreamland is silent as falling snow. Sleep now. For one day, we will finally be able to return to that peaceful dream. Show me another one. I dare say your skills will be no less impressive in Rankwood, my friends.
Huh. The guy waving the sign around looks a bit familiar. Was he the one who performed in front of a restaurant near Rheinhuck? Oh, right. Being right next door to a fast food joint was the Caravan International Travel Agency's selling point. He was flipping that sign around way too fast for me to see what was on it.
Hot Springs.
Oh, have you been there before?
Nope. But I've seen more than enough Outlanders shivering from the cold and asking where the hot springs are. That must be why they come here.
I'm actually pretty interested in those myself.
When you're blessed by the Samavillain, it's not so difficult to find a hot spring in the forest. While I haven't been to southern Sami in years, I've also heard that the locals often encounter anxious southerners on the road. They'll offer handfuls of unfashioned gold bars in exchange for divining the location of nearby hot springs.
How'd you get it out, sir?
Who knows? What I do know is that some people mistakenly believe Thadabkaus of the southerners. Apparent fondness for such ugly ingots we must never have developed any sense of aesthetics.
Then I guess they never reached a mutual understanding.
However, they did end up finding experienced people like yourself, and eventually discovered the hot springs on their own. Take a look at that. The thing that's always singing.
Oh, an advertising truck?
That's right. If you follow it all the way, you'll find another hot spring that they're developing. This sort of thing happens often.
You're quite knowledgeable about this little town.
Of course. It's Sami soil. Even without many strange occurrences people need my help with, it's not like I can't figure out what's happening.
This place feels pretty different from the rest of Sami, though. Where did I put my visitor's brochure again? Oh, found it. According to the map, everything from here to here is nothing but resorts for the tourists. There are hardly any Sami homes. The neighborhoods we've been walking through not only have electricity, good signal strength, and even intercity net, but takes a deep breath, yeah. I smell water purifiers too. Considering this is where a lot of major tech company offices are concentrated, it makes sense that they'd want convenient communications. But the insides of the offices don't look much different from the ones at Rheinhuck. Also, they're using steel beams and concrete to simulate the appearance of large trees and putting their buildings on top of them. Isn't that offensive to the Sami?
Probably not. I can see why they do, though. Your people are terrified of Sami, so they lock themselves in metal cages for protection.
Even for researchers like me who've gone into the Icefield quite a few times, there's no way we can match how freely you can move around out there.
Don't worry. Even so, you are still connected to the land of Sami. That's what Art has always said.
Magdalene, do you mind if I take a look at that brochure of yours?
Go ahead, but I got it when I was entering the endless Icefield from Ursus, so all the labels are in Urson. What did you want to see? Maybe I can help you find it. Oh, that's the wrong side. That's just an ad for an Ursus nursing home with a Sami resort.
It's fine, Magdalene. I can read it myself. Here they are, the coordinates from the transmission. Excuse me, I have some business to take care of. Typhen Magdalene, I'm afraid we'll have to say goodbye for now.
Next time, I'll be setting off for the endless Icefield from here, so I'm sure we'll meet again, Simone. If we run into any snowstorms, though, please come back to save us.
Will do. Next time, is it? That's right. After this little excursion is over, who knows where I might end up. I wish you the best, Maggle.
Bye, Sima. What about you, Leo Typhoon? Ryan Lab's office is right around the corner from here, and I need to make a report. Where is your client?
No idea. All Argus said was that someone's waiting for me in cabin. Still. Well, I suppose I'll just walk around for now. I'm sure I'll run into them.
Huh? Then how about you check over here? All right, let me give you some spare change. That way you'll be able to take the tour buses to get around town. All right?
Huh? And what the heck is Leo Typhoon?
Typhon raises her head and sees a tall, familiar-looking figure standing beneath the eaves. The hunter, in all her vigilance, failed to notice when she got there.
Okay then. I think I figured it out. The person waiting for me might have been none other than Argus herself.
Look who it is. If it isn't our little Maggie. It's been forever since I heard your voice in the audio report archives, so we've been worried sick. We were just about ready to add your name to the search and rescue list.
My luck's actually been pretty good so far.
So, tired of energy bars and compressed biscuits yet? How about some flavorful Mama John's instant spicy beast meat?
Oh, thanks. Who might you be? Is that Beach Brow's logo on your clothes?
There's no need to look so confused. While our logo might feel out of place in cold and frigid Sammy, corporate printed us a special snow-themed pattern. See, almost everyone knows your name by now, Maggle. The rising star of Icefield research. So experienced at exploration, and at such a young age. There's not much to do out here in Sammy, so all us bored folks from the neighboring offices have gotten to know each other and shared juicy gossip. Several large companies with lots of employees registered with the Exploration Society will be getting together to conduct the search and rescue operation of Director Marion and his expedition team. You came back at just the right time. Now that we've prepared both the manpower and the resources, all that's left is the first-hand data you've brought back. For whatever reason, I've got a really good feeling about this mission. I can't even picture the director getting himself killed. He's so stubborn he might as well be some kind of immortal monster himself.
According to his files and medical reports, he's always just been a regular Karanta. But I also have faith he's still out there. Because I heard his voice when I was having auditory hallucinations along the way.
Hallucinations?
Yeah, it's a long story. It'll probably take a while just to sort through the notes I took. For example, stay far away from black snow. And if you're hearing things, don't answer. And near the endless ice field on the Jal Veteran, there's a high wall made up of many fortresses filled with warriors. I'm sure they're nice people, but it's best to keep your distance.
A high wall? Can Sammy technology compete with Victoria's City Defense Artillery?
No, the people here aren't too different from how they're depicted in the Explorer's Guidebook published by Ursus last century.
No progress in 100 years. We've gone from barren wastes to multiple high-tech cities in less than that. No wonder my colleagues in the business section always complain about how difficult it was to set up an office here, and how hard it is communicating with the Sami. But if the locals can overcome the difficult environment with only their own methods, then it should be a piece of cake for us.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. I've encountered plenty of situations where I was in over my head. I wouldn't have made it without my friend from Rhodes Island. Oh, and there was also a particularly nice hunter I met near the Icefield. She knew all of Sammy like her own backyard, and was always glad to help. Both of them had so many survival skills I've never seen before, and they saved my hide more than once. Anyway, if you still have enough supplies left over for the search and rescue operation, I'd like to apply to join the team. I got a ton of information during this trip through Sammy, and might not be able to sift through all of it on such short notice. Typhon?
Good. You're still here.
Please do not doubt me, Typhon. I saw only a glimpse of fate. Only that you came to this little town and gave away a casket. At the time, I did not know where you got it from, what was inside it, or who was meant to receive it.
Yeah, I'm used to that by now. So you went and found it yourself, right?
After sending you off, I also embarked on a journey to fulfill my destiny, and to await its guidance.
You smell like snow dripping from the fir trees. You've come a long way. You crossed the ice field. You went to places I've never been to before. In Sarkis to surrender all to fate.
In Sarkis, surrender all to fate.
It's great that you're the one to finally fulfill the prophecy. All right, so where did you happen to get this little box?
This is the nice person I was just talking about.
Nice person.
Oh, hello there. I've heard you're quite familiar with Sammy. And we happen to be putting together a search and rescue team to enter the Icefield through Sammy and locate missing Ryan Lab members. Do you think you could be persuaded to be our guide? We'll pay you handsomely.
I decline. If you need a guide, you'd better find someone else. I'm a hunter, and I have more important work. Here, take this Megalon.
Huh?
Arges wanted me to give it to you. It belongs to Ryan Lab.
Oof, you're right. This is our logo. And verification lock employee number.
This is an equipment box from the scientific investigation section. Judging from its size, it should be a general-purpose lockbox used for storing sensitive components. And the serial number belongs to Director Marion.
Wait, Typhon. I just met with the research team.
Do you know the one this box belongs to?
It's my teachers, the leader of the missing research team.
In other words, Arges worked together with the missing team.
Huh?
Wait, if she was a first-hand witness and even cooperated with Ryan Lab, then why hasn't she come to see us in person?
Because that is the vision she saw.
Vision? Is she one of the legendary Cyclopes? Are there really living Cyclopes in Sammy? I have to meet her. Does she speak any modern languages? Do we need some kind of ritual to summon her?
I don't think she's all that different from us. She's pretty fond of Colombian geographical magazines. But I'd like to speak with her face-to-face too. Is there no way?
She might just feel that this isn't the fated time yet.
Okay, but what happened to the others then?
I'm sure you can already guess the answer. All Arges told me was that she entered the Icefield with the expedition team.
So, the extra supplies Professor Mary took from the scientific investigation station weren't just for emergency use, but for her.
Cyclopes can see the future, and she tried her best to help the team avoid danger. But a tragic end was inevitable. Well, that's her way of saying she did the best she could. After encountering the demons, only she and the box's owner survived.
The professor would always tell us that when facing nature, our first priority was to survive. We've never had such a huge loss of life since the formation of scientific investigation. And he must be even more devastated than us. So this is the endless Icefield. Typhon, did the survivor return with Arges?
Shig said. He continued to advance deeper in, alone.
I knew it.
That sure sounds like Director Marion.
Also, I have some words to pass on. First, Arges wanted me to apologize to you. Second, the person who gave her the box said, the journey of discovery must never end.
I wonder what's inside the box. Huh? Just a flower.
We're currently analyzing the chemical structure of the environmental particles stuck to the specimen box. However, we know very little about the endless Icefield, and it may be difficult to determine the missing team's location based on this alone.
If no matching data can be found, does that mean that the director pushed the boundaries of human exploration into the Icefield?
I believe so, which is why this flower is an extremely valuable specimen.
In all my time exploring the Icefield, I've never seen anything like this. Though, I have seen an entire field of flowers underground. The environment down there was pretty unique to be able to support plant growth. But this particular flower...
Magellan carefully observes it through the display window of the specimen box.
It looks really strange, almost like it isn't a plant at all. The flowers I dug up before had robust root systems to allow them to absorb nutrients from beneath the ice. Where are the roots on this? Someone as careful as the director wouldn't have damaged the specimen during collection. That would significantly reduce its research value.
Let's start with basic observations. Given the conditions here, we probably won't get any results right away. To conduct the next phase of research, we'll have to wait until the sample is transported back to Huck and passed on to Ecological for handling. A special messenger will arrive and cap it shortly. We can leave the in-depth study of the specimen to them. We still need to contact Director Merriam as soon as possible. By the way, are you sure you want to head right back out on another trek? Your protective gear needs maintenance, and we won't be able to get any spare drones in Sammy within 3 days.
But I'm worried about the director. Besides, my protective gear is still in good shape. After all, I was only passing through Sammy, not heading deep into the Icefield.
There's really no stopping you. All right, then I'm going to break the specimen box's seal.
Please begin reporting your findings whenever. I'm ready to record.
It was colorless flower, like a shadow cast by ice. But the moment the box was unsealed, the invisible air throughout the laboratory was dyed with myriad colors. It identified its current space, reoriented its position, and established its own territory. The Colombian researchers had no time to react. They did not realize they were being contaminated along with the entire lab. Nor did they hear the thunderous noise that shattered the dead silence.
Wait up.
Gas.
Tough, what happened? Oh no, the glass is all shattered too. And, well, who are you? Who said you could barge in here?
Don't move.
I finished sealing the flower, Typhon. That should be good enough, right?
You'll react much faster than before.
Does this mean when the box is opened and Scottertini will realize? Already opened the box?
TH, this is the Sammy branch office, right? What's going on in here?
Something dangerous.
Or you could call it a major discovery. A completely new type of plant. Or even a completely new type of phenomenon. Director Miriam really sent us an amazing gift.
Something's off. If Director Miriam and Argus knew this flower was so dangerous, why did they send it back anyway? Why didn't the director try to stop us from studying it?
What kind of question is that? Since when do explorers fear danger? A phenomenon that flies in the face of everything we take as common sense. This is an absolute scientific goldmine. Should we prioritize forming a larger team to study it in depth?
I think our search and rescue come first. We'll locate Director Miriam and simultaneously open up a route for those who come afterwards. All right, we also need to hurry up and ask the director what he wants to name this new plant species. I'll record a description to submit as a report. Please take my recording back along with the sample, Mr. Messenger.
Also, have Huck submit a report to the Exploration Society announcing this discovery as soon as possible. Understood. I have to admit, the Exploration Society is much more efficient at getting teams together for this kind of thing. Some of them don't even have the patience gather a team. You know who I mean, Magdalene. Like those explorers famous for preferring to work alone.
Yeah, some of them are my good friends, even if you're always making fun of them. But this discovery is much more valuable than any of my previous explorations. I think this joint venture will attract not only explorers, but also researchers in the fields of biology, geology, to join the expedition. More and more people will become interested in the Icefield.
Once we're back from the rescue operation, things might get so busy here we won't even recognize the place. How are you feeling, Magdalene? I remember you mentioning before that you wanted to see if this so-called endless Icefield really does have an end. Well, now you're one step closer to your dream.
Well, that's hard to say.
Before Magdalene can join her colleagues in celebration, she feels Typhon tugging on her hand.
Huh? You want to talk to me outside? What's wrong?
Well, Argus said there was no point trying to stop you, because you might find a way to discover everything about Sammy on your own. Just as Sammy's warriors are willing to sacrifice their lives to hold the northern front, the southern is sure to receive the revelation of their destiny and continue exploring to lift the veil from this land at any cost. But before you people get too caught up in your fantasies, I have to remind you of something. This is also so you don't wind up as Miss Fortuntia, as Argus said.
Miss Fortuntia?
The Cyclops' vision. The last thing she saw was a tragic ending. If you're ever in trouble, find me.
Thank you.
Magdalene suddenly feels a slight chill. She turns her head, and inexplicably, a snowstorm is raging outside the window. You understand the feeling of pain very well, more than most Sammy who've resigned themselves to it. You understand how to torture someone. You Sammy beasts have no shortage of tricks. Engulfed in your witchcraft, I can't even feel the pain of being pierced by an ice pick.
I just want a clear answer. What is the black mark, and why have you smuggled in? Answer me. I can always end this sooner.
You'll regret this, witch. Letting me die here will do nothing but make Sammy suffer more.
Sammy does not care about your foolish ambitions.
Ambitions? Hardly. I've come here to die, and I'm more than happy to do so. This information will never be sent back to Ursus, and you'll regret it.
Speak.
The Black Mark is a missing member of the Emperor's Royal Guard. I found his footprints, black footprints. His dominion has collapsed. The demons have completely taken him. He will contaminate your land for all of eternity, and nobody alive knows where he is now.
Let these words linger in your ears before the cold takes away your consciousness forever. The Sami know neither fear nor panic. We have guarded the mountains for hundreds of years. We are Sammy's fangs to sever the demon's tracks. You and your ilk are not even enemies. The affairs of the Ursus end here. Oh, fate. Your warning has once again drawn my gaze back to the contaminated land of Sammy. How could I have ever forgotten my duty? I understand now that it's time for me to return to the wind and snow of the Icefield.